4 times they have played each other, even though it's been over the last couple of years, is the average winning margin from either team or combined has been 16.5 points. So Brisbane leading that 3-1 in their favour. So that paints a little bit of a picture. Obviously things have changed a fair bit in Melbourne in particular, the way they play, but just generally the lists haven't turned over a hell of a lot, so they match up reasonably well together for close games. So I don't think last time seems like there's so much water going on the bridge, hasn't there, and where teams have played and who they've played and how they've done it. So I don't think that plays a huge part, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's, as we'll probably hear from, and anyone speaking about the finals is, that season's done, let's get into the next season now, and this is where you start afresh 0-0 and you try and get going again. So yeah, they would have learned some things, no doubt, but I don't think it counts for any sort of mental edge or anything like that. I can't imagine.
And the venue, is it just a matter of it cancels each other out? Both teams, it's foreign to them.
Free hit, yeah.
I think Melbourne's record, they've won 6 of their last 8 at Adelaide Oval. They've played there twice this year. They beat Port by 5 goals and they lost to Adelaide by a point. It was their first defeat of the season. Meanwhile, for the Brisbane Lions, they lost their first 6 at the venue, but they weren't the same team back then than they had been in recent times. They've won their last 2.
Have they both gone through the same kind of protocols, quarantining rules or anything like that? There's
same measures.
Yep.
Same measures to get there.
Can you remember as players where there were grounds that suited teams that you were a part of at certain stages?
In terms of away?
Yeah.
We used to really play well at Subiaco. At the Tigers, we were quite a good running team, and we used to always enjoy going over there to play against them. But
loved a bit of space.
We've played on the outside probably.
And so what's unique about the Adelaide Oval? Is it similar? What's it most similar to for those who haven't been there?
No idea.
No idea. Yeah, I never really enjoyed playing there that much. One, we got pants there in 2014, the finals, made me not like the place, but I always found it really hard to kick goals. It was really swirly there.
Yeah.
So
I've never had any issues, but yeah, it comes down to probably the dislikes of playing at each venue is probably the hotel or where you got to stay and all that kind of thing. It was never the ground for me, or the change rooms or anything like that. It was just. Yeah, we back in the St Kilda days, we remember those times where it's like, what happens when you play on bigger grounds because your team defence and all. And like the reality is, Ross, you say, well, you only kick the ball like 55, 60 metres, so we could play on a field that was 600 metres by 600, and it's it doesn't matter. You just shift in relation to the ball. So
yeah.
So back then in particular, we didn't care where we played.
2 informed teams, there's no late change. First qualifying final, Melbourne and Brisbane. The Medi subs, James Jordan for Melbourne and Reece Matheson for Brisbane. So the changes from round 23, Melbourne are unchanged. Same 23 that beat Geelong last Saturday night. Meanwhile, for Brisbane, they played the West Coast Eagles Saturday twilight. Harris Andrews comes back, Mitch Robinson returns, so 2 big ins. Archie and Lester, the 2 that go out injured from the side that beat the West Coast Eagles. Both teams, as I said, in form. Brisbane have won their last 3. Albeit 9 of their last 10 games have been against bottom 10 sides, so it's a few soft touches leading in to the final series, while for Melbourne they've won their past 4 games. The result earlier today, we're keen to get more reaction from you off the SMS throughout the night, by the way. That 0437 774 774, the SMS number. Kevin from Bentley, a short time ago, the Toby Green incident was a love tap out of play. If Barry Hall can play in the 2005 grand final after punching Matt Maguire, Toby Green must play against Geelong in the first semi. And no name on this, but there is no contest. Players cannot walk through umpires, not now, not ever, and must miss matches as a result. Both of you have seen the incident. The Giants are through to the last 6, a 1-point victory over the Swans, and Toby Green is going to be the biggest talking point in front of mind all week after an incident with Matt Stevic on the three-quarter time siren.
I'll go first before we hand over to his good mate in Lids. Just on that, you can't. The landscape's completely changed. Barry Halls was a joke too when he punched Goose. That was an absolute joke, absolutely rigged decision. But the total landscape around the look of the game, actions involved, particularly around umpires too. So we go all the way back. We were thinking prior to coming on air, who was the last guy to make, reasonably forceful contact to an umpire, and probably say on both occasions they weren't, but Diesel Williams is one that springs to mind, and he's got done with 6 weeks, was it?
9 weeks.
9 weeks, there you go. And then in this instance, and again, the landscape's changed since then. It's been a long time. So that action against an umpire you can argue all you want, and it might not be forceful and whatever. And the fact that Toby is actually talking to him, so he can't use the excuse that he didn't know he was there, all that kind of thing. He's in communication with him. That it's a terrible look. It's something you don't want to see. You got to draw the line in the sand, because if it's not something like that, when is it, step too far? Does he actually got to knock him over to be like a serious suspension? So no, he's got no way out of this. Unfortunately for him, another stupid act, miss another final. So I'll hand it over to Lidge to try and add some context to it.
Oh mate, I'm flat, knowing that he's put in so much work this year to really turn the tables on the discussion around Toby.
His perception.
And for him to potentially even put himself in any sort of position to miss another final after the elimination final 2019, the Bontempelli eye gouge thing, got off that with a fine, then does it the next week up in Brisbane, misses the prelim. It's like, mate, I actually wanted to text him and say, if you can get through this unscathed and not get
text
in the
pre-game,
and I wish I had him now, and just, mate, if you can just, I'll share you a whole day at the Aries Inlet pub, mate, because that's our little watering hole over the Chrissy break. But oh my God, I'm flat, because I love to see the best players out there, and he's one of the best players, and he'll make a huge difference to the Giants being able to play against the Cats. But as B said, we cannot have this. You cannot be touching umpires, regardless of how forceful or whether you thought there was nothing in it. It's not a great look, and it should never be tolerated.
So there's been some more vision doing the round since we've come on air, and I've just been sent that. I'll get you both to have a look at it momentarily, where if you slow it sort of right down frame by frame, it looks like Stevic sort of pulls his shoulder out of the way as Green's about to make contact. So the pair of them may never touch.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure that's actually going to help Toby Green, though, where he's sort of walking through a path where if Stevic didn't move, he would have made contact with him.
Yeah.
So essentially it was almost a reaction last minute for Stevic to kind of turn and try and get out of the way of any kind of contact. But Toby was in his strut in full flight, and he was walking in one direction, and that was through the umpire if Stevic didn't move. So there's going to be a tough one for Toby and for the Giants to try and argue during the week, but they're there at least. So a Friday night showdown with Geelong. You know what that means, Lids?
It does. Big Jerry.
For the first time, Jeremy Cameron will play against his old teammates.
I know what that's like.
Yes, in a final. They met twice in the regular season. Cameron didn't play either of them. It'll be the Cats and the Giants in Perth, Friday night footy in a semi-final. Ahead of us, though, is Melbourne and Brisbane. High stakes at the other end of the table for a place in the preliminary final, and Alan Richardson, an assistant coach. Now, with the Melbourne Footy Club, he's been good enough to join us. Alan, firstly off the top, what does tonight represent? What kind of an opportunity is it for Melbourne?
Oh, it's a terrific opportunity. It's exciting. The boys will be nervous. We know what it means, and we've had a really strong season, but it's the next season begins now, and the boys are really looking forward to it.
Everyone get through to the opening bounce. Any late changes?
No. We're still about 30 minutes away, and it's raining really heavily over here, but everything's good.
Yeah, Alan, Brendan Goddard, congratulations on the season. How have the boys been this week in what was a huge effort last week? And I wouldn't say history making, but it's been a long time, 50 odd years since the club finished on top of the ladder. How have the boys been this week?
Yeah, BJ. No, they've been good, mate. They've obviously a really emotional win. Not only given what it meant, but where we had to come from, 24 points down, and those wins are full of emotion. But Goody was really quick to talk about the fact that we've done a really good job to give ourselves pole position, but pole position is so that we can be in a great launching pad for the next part of the season, which is the finals, of course. And so, it's been good. There's been some distractions, good distractions. We had a really positive night at the AFL Awards night for all Australians and Big Lukey Jackson, etc. But they're really focused on making sure that we're in this campaign for a long time.
What I've really been impressed with this year, and in particular from players that we've spoken to, we've done a lot of Melbourne games, is the consistent messaging coming from you guys, not only the players, but Goody himself and the coaches and yourself. Is that part of the culture? Where has that kind of come from?
I think there's been a fair bit spoken about the way the players addressed last year and disappointing not to make finals. It looked like we were going to play finals, and had a really disappointing couple of performances up in Cairns that cost us. And what are we going to do about that? And what do we want to achieve? This is not me talking. This is the players, of course. And a big part of that was to make sure that we were a really consistent footy team, both on and off the field, and to get real clarity on who we want to be a strong forward half team, to make sure that we're really strong with our defence, and that was going to be the driver of our performance. But off the field, it was that we respect and understand the role that our fans play, and that's only been exacerbated because of COVID. And we can bring a bit of joy to their lives. You would have seen the emotion on in Christian Petrarca's interview post-game, where he spoke about that, and that's something that the Goody and Gorney have really driven. And you're right, it's become pretty consistent throughout.
Alan, it's Brett Lidio here. You spoke about wanting to be really strong defensively. I'm good friends with Troy Chaplin. He tells me he's the reason that it's all changed, mate. Is that the case?
Well, he runs it. So, and he certainly had a big part of the design. He's been influenced by his time at the Tigers, and they've been incredibly strong from a system perspective, and just personnel behind the ball as well. So no, he's had a lot to do with it. Our coaches work really well together. I mean, offense and defence are just so connected these days that Adam Uze does our midfield and our offense. So he has a bit on his plate given what happened with Softcap at the end of the year. But no, they're doing a really good job. Obviously, Goody's got to tick off on things and then drive things, and the Chappie's played a really important role.
Okay, I'll give him that feedback, mate. We've seen a really a strong shift in the messaging that's come out from the players in their attitude towards being a bit more about the team versus me. Who's been the biggest driver in all of that?
Yeah, well, that's back to BJ's question. That right at the start of the year, when all footy clubs have them, what do we want to do? And then as a coaching group, and me and my role as GM of performance, okay, we'll help you drive all that, but it had to come from the players, and it's been pretty consistent across the board. Clearly, Max is our captain. Viney is a really strong, demanding, challenging vice captain. The way that we review our performance is really consistent with respect to what they want from a trademark perspective. So it just makes it just so much more consistent than it's probably been in the past. And I think that it's been a real strong collection of the players that's driven the messaging.
And just on tonight's game, obviously you're well aware of that it's the best defence against the best offence in the competition. What are some of the things you're prepared for and expect to see tonight from Brisbane?
Yeah, look, that probably undersells their work at clearance and stoppage, although if you don't win those, you don't get it in your front half. So that's a big part of what they do, and they're as good as any in that space. Our game last time achieved real clarity for us. It would have for them too, for that matter. That is, they were dominant in that part of the game early. Then we were able to swing that after half time and ended up getting the result. It was a real game of two halves. So we know how important that part of it is. But yeah, look, we really pride ourselves on our defence. There'll be some challenging moments, from them because of with these conditions. Certainly with Charlie, the way that he's able to get out the back. Danaher, for a big bloke, is also quite effective at ground level plays. So, we know we're going to be challenged, but we've been pretty consistent, so I'm confident that we'll be strong in that space.
Just on your game before we let you go, Alan and BJ alluded to it, we have done a lot of Melbourne games this year, and a consistent theme is they're set up in the way that's going to be successful come finals. What is it, do you think, that about Melbourne in particular in this group that is so dependable tonight that you know that you're going to get?
Well, primarily we're very hard to score against. So we focus a lot on defence. Even when talking about our offence, most of our scoring opportunities come when the opposition is out of position, and that's when they've just had the ball. And so we talk a lot about that, and we don't exclude scoring. I mean, we still talk about needing to score and kick more than the opposition, obviously, but we never get away from making it hard from the opposition to defend, to score, and to make it a really frustrating night for the opposition. So that gives me confidence that we'll be in a lot of games of footy, and I think that stacks up in finals.
Alan, go well. Good luck tonight.
Good on you guys.
Alan Richardson with us pre-game. And the rain has just paused momentarily, which is good news, but we've had very heavy rain in Adelaide throughout the day. The players have made their way off the ground, and they'll be running out very shortly. as we get going at Adelaide Oval, the first qualifying final between Melbourne and Brisbane. Corbin Middlemass alongside Andrew Mays, Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio. So what we know so far, the Swans are out. It'll be Geelong and GWS next Friday night in the semi-final. And Port Adelaide have made it through.
Venue, most likely?
Perth. So Cats are already there, and the Giants are making the long trip. So 6-day break from Tasmania to Perth. Couldn't get 2 further points in the country. And tonight it's, of course, all about the other side of the draw, the Brisbane Lions and Melbourne. And here come the Lions, paying homage to old Fitzroy, predominantly in the red and the blue top of their jumper, and, of course, the yellow line in the centre of the jumper with the white shorts. They make their way out onto Adelaide Oval for the 3rd straight year. They've qualified in the top 4. They've got the double chance. And tonight, a little bonus of being on neutral turf up against the higher-ranked Demons. A couple of changes from the team from last week. Andrews and Robinson make their return. Archie and Lester, the 2 who go out with injury. And Reece Matheson, he's the Medi sub for the Brisbane Lions tonight. Joe Danaher, Peach, of course, a man who was pretty close to a lot of Essendon supporters' hearts. He left in the off-season. He's had great continuity since making his way up north. He's played all 22 games for the 4th time in his career, but the first time since 2017. He's the leader of this forward line. There's no Eric Hipwood. What are we going to get from Joe in his, just his 3rd final tonight?
Well, he's up against the best, or will be, the All-Australian, the best defender in the competition. So Stephen May will go to him. He'll make it tough for him because Steve is quick, so all the attributes Joey has, I think Stevie May has them covered. And what's going against Joey, as well as the best defender is the conditions tonight. So, but we know Joey can find the ball on the ground. That's one of his great strengths. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of responsibility thrown on his shoulders after Hipwood's injury. And I said at the time that it's time for Joey to stand up and maybe it takes something like that for players to really blossom and take responsibility. He's done a pretty good job after that. Again, I think since 2017, he's the only player since Joe Danaher in 2017 to kick a goal in every game. So hitting the scoreboard, so big night, but up against it mainly because of the conditions, but also playing on the best defender in the competition.
Lids, we felt in 2019 when they made it that they were ahead of their time, somewhat the Brisbane Lions. Bang, bang, they went out in straight sets. Yep. Last year they came back. They won this fixture last year against Richmond to book their place in a home preliminary final and came up a long way short against Geelong. So 1 finals victory in 2 years, having qualified in the top 4. Is the hood on, given the fact that they've had that finals win, or would there be a few of them thinking, oh, geez, we've had 1 win from 4 finals?
Oh, you'd be trying not to think about it, but I know when I was going into my 3rd final series with the Tigers, it was certainly front of mind. Geez, I don't want to miss what? We'd bailed out in the previous 2.
Did you talk about it during the week?
No, we didn't talk about it. I was just being a senior player knowing that, geez, we don't want to bail out here. You can't just shut it out of your mind. You've got to acknowledge it, don't you, Brendan? But look, I think, they'd be aware of that, but I think they're giving themselves every chance to fully attack this game, and they're going up against the best team in the competition. So it's a free hit, but they've also got that they're on a neutral turf. So, they've got every chance. One question I do want to ask, Brendan, we spoke about this quite a bit last week, is that the dew set in and people were fumbling. So what about when there's rain? Do the good players still not fumble in the rain, or...
if they put as much grip on the hands as you used to, then probably not.
Well, I didn't fumble, mate, so I must have been a good player.
No, they don't fumble 2 times in a row, mate. But it's just important to keep the ball in front of you. So they're going to fumble. It actually looks all right at the minute. So fingers crossed it stays like this for as long as possible. But it's important just to keep the ball in front of you, keep it within striking distance. As we know that Jed Adcock alluded to, that the ball getting over the back is when you become most vulnerable, and that's why I just think when Melbourne get ground position in their front half, having that wicket keeper, it sets them up and it looks really strong. So and he actually touched on that Brisbane like to play 6 forwards, but he didn't. He knows their tactics, but he didn't delve into it.
No, exactly right. That's what I was trying to get out of him.
He really shut you down there. It didn't give you much else, but they create a 7th behind the ball. So your question to him was, will you go and man up that 7th? Yes, you'll play 6 forwards.
Yeah, I get that. But Max Gawn comes out, mate.
Max
so
Gawn comes out. So they actually play as a +1, but create a +1 naturally through, or not naturally, but through Max Gawn playing as a key.
We'll be looking for that, won't we,
defender.
to try and answer that question for the listeners.
So they have to man that up for me, because if their strength, like we alluded to, or their strength is their speed from their smalls, but when the ball hits the ground and being a wet night,
Just need a contest.
That's where Melbourne will be vulnerable if they're able to create equal numbers, and it gives the confidence for the midfielders that when they do win it, and because of their condition, they don't have time to fiddle around with it. You do that extra handball for someone to find real time and space. Is just get it going forward, because that'll be a message we used to talk about a lot. Get it going forward because we've got equal numbers, so there shouldn't be a spare. They shouldn't have any aerial support. You get it naturally sagging off dumb players, but that you just kick it forward. We'll make the contest, bring the ball to ground. So they have to man up that 7th tonight.
The Demons are out on the park, as you can hear in the background. Melbourne in their home strip this evening, so of course in the navy blue with the navy shorts. And the Red Sox, a number of awards for their players during the week. They had 5 named in the All-Australian team, including the key 2 down back. Clayton Oliver added to his ABC Footballer of the Year gong by picking up the Coaches Award during the week as well. As well as a nom in the All-Australian team as well. So another blazer for him. Melbourne, top of the tree for 13 weeks throughout the year. They finish on top, their first minor premiership since 1964. And before we get into the full preview, I mean, a lot of sort of casual footy fans have been saying all year, and they feel like Melbourne's teased them in the past, Lid. So I'm just waiting for them to fall over at some stage. I'll just wait for them to capture your heart, and I'll let you down. It's obviously a different element again now that we've reached finals time. How do you think they'll cope with that pressure, given their recent history?
Well, I think the Demon supporters feel that way. I actually saw one of my close mates today who's a mad Demon. He's a bit filthy that he's not able to get there and watch him. I tell you, you'd be there in your nice little zip-up vest, wouldn't you, and your RM Williams on and whatever else.
Yeah.
But no, he's... I think it's because after 18, and then 19 was such a letdown, and 20 didn't make the finals again. But I think what they go back to is just their system, and what they've backed in all year is how strong they've been defensively. And we heard Al Richardson talk about it, how miserly they want to be and how hard they want to make it for the opposition to score. And if you do that, you're well and truly in games. And I'm going to lean on Beach here a bit, but from an outsider looking in, I'm sure that was Ross Lyon's mantra almost. Let's defend really hard and be strong and not allow teams to just open us up.
Yeah, most definitely. And as Alan Richardson alluded to, it keeps them competitive and keeps them in most games. Defence does. So, but my wife and her family are big Melbourne supporters, so I have to explain to them, like you alluded to, Corbs, that they're expecting to get let down because that's just what's happened over a long period of time. But as I've kept saying to them, and we've talked about it, it's different. You can finish on the top of the ladder, but it's how you're playing, what your profile looks like. And for us here, and we've talked about it a lot, Melbourne's profile stands up in finals, and it's built off Alan Richardson. If we had any question marks over and what they focus on, he's just rubber stamped it, hasn't he? It's just all about defence. Yes, they talk about offence, but a lot of their offence comes from their ability to defend, and it's a defend first kind of mentality. So it's sustainable, and it looks different. So, they might bow out, in straight sets, but because they haven't really played finals consistently, have they, for a 3-4 year period, which to be successful, and everyone wants to create a dynasty, which Richmond have done, which Geelong have done, which Brisbane have done, Hawthorn have done, that you have to go through this process. But it's how you do it, what you learn from it, and what it actually looks like when you delve into it. And that's why the language out of Melbourne this year, it's been consistent, and I think that's why they're in a really strong... So not only this year, that's what I said, they might bow out, but long term for the next couple of years, they're going to be thereabouts because of what they learnt this year, what their team now thinks and knows what success looks like and how to achieve it. So, we're talking about further down the track, but they're in a really good position, and it's just different this year.
One side of the finals bracket has really started to take place after GWS 1-point winners over Sydney in a thrilling elimination final earlier today. So it'll be the Giants and the Cats in a semi-final next Saturday night. The Swans are out. We're down to 7 live teams. And now for the other side of the bracket, it starts with Melbourne and the Brisbane Lions in the first qualifying final. The bounce 10 minutes away. The winner goes straight through to a preliminary final. The loser will play the winner of tomorrow's elimination final between the Western Bulldogs and Essendon. We're about 5 minutes away from the on-ground ceremony. The full preview with Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio. Talk us through it, gents. What are we in for tonight?
Well, a cracking game, I think. I think we've spoken about how good they have. Both sides are. One, Melbourne being defensively. Two, Brisbane, their ability to score. But I think what Jed Adcock alluded to, Brisbane Lions assistant coach, was that it'll be won and lost in the middle, especially with the conditions. And that's the key thing. I'm interested in your thoughts on a beach. Clayton Oliver, we know how good he's been clearance-wise, contested ball-wise. Do you send someone to him? And if so, who is that for the Lions? I look through and I think maybe Lions could go head-to-head with him, but I don't know whether he's a lockdown. I'm just looking through whether Mitch Robinson could potentially do that. But he's
bring the tag back.
Bring the tag. Well, do you?
Which is done in the past.
I don't reckon the Lions traditionally go with the tag. So
they haven't, but he has done it before. And I think under Fagan he did it in his first year or two. Still went, played on them, ran off them, and did quite well at it. But I'm
talking about who here? Sorry,
Robinson.
Mitchy Robinson,
yeah,
so
Mitch Robinson.
Off the wing and come inside and maybe work off.
Centre square, which we know how it works. But essentially, you have your three on ballers, your starters start in the middle. Robbo might even start half forward.
Come in,
go straight to Oliver. I think you have to respect him based on the conditions too, because that game, the last 4 weeks, but the games we've seen done live with him, he's been outstanding.
Yeah.
And you have to respect him and the difference he does have on the game and make the people around him and the outside players at Melbourne better, because he's able to win the ball and be so clean with it. So
I heard someone say during the week that he's untaggable. No one's untaggable.
No.
If someone is diligent in their job and stopping Clayton Oliver from getting the footy, he will do that. He's not untaggable.
Yeah. Well, you stop him having a major
35.
effect on the game. But it's a good point, because I got him down here as a key matchup. So Oliver, who is at Lions, or Robinson, but I think you got to let Lions continue his strong form.
So does Harms go to Lions then? Because we've seen Harms go to Libba, or does he go to Lockie Neal? Do you see him more in front?
Yeah, so there's a question mark. So I think it's Robinson go to Oliver. The other matchup for Melbourne is Lever. I think you have to respect that, what his ability, what he does behind the ball.
McStay.
Yep. So it has to be someone smart that generally stays within a kick of the ball, because what Lever does, he plays on that high half forward. So from a high half forward position, you've got the ability to read the play and sag off and be that aerial support. So he's rarely caught deep. So if you could actually get him high, engage him high, and even in general play, that's when you can pull him a little bit deeper to make him uncomfortable and to make him defend. But you have to put someone that's smart enough on him.
Dalehouse played on him a fair bit last week, I reckon.
To stay in dangerous positions. But you also, you essentially got to end up getting the ball, don't you? Because that's when you really expose them. So I think I've got McCarthy, and if you want to go a tall option, then is it McStay? And then allow, because May's going to go to Danaher regardless, I think. They'll set that match up. So two guys for mine that Brisbane need to respect. And from the other hand, conditions tonight, I think Cameron's the obvious one, and going through it, you brought it up earlier with Hibberd not playing. So played on small forwards, got that speed, agility, ground level to play on these guys, and done a great job doing that numerous times this year. So that's what my question mark threw up, is who it has to be Rivers then, because Salem plays that high half back.
Or is he quick enough?
Well, that's the thing. They don't really have anyone now, do they? So unless they go
young Bowie to go down there and
that's a big ask for
a big ask for a 4th, 5th game player, isn't it? Like it's.
And then the other guy, conditions again. Thinking about the conditions, is Zorko playing that high half forward. Again, can go in the midfield, but he's so impactful forward of centre, and you've got to show him the respect. So who goes to him as a half-back? So Melbourne probably more worried about their small matchups rather than their talls.
Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio, Corbin Middlemass and Andrew Mays on Grandstand AFL. The first qualifying final upon us. Let's kick it down for the on-ground ceremony.
The Australian Football League and Premier partner Toyota welcome you to the first qualifying final between Melbourne and the Brisbane Lions. The AFL acknowledges the Kaurna people, who are the traditional owners of the land we gather on today, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge we play our great game on this land, and we respect the cultures of all First Peoples, their contribution to our nation and contribution to the game of Australian rules football. The AFL now invites you to direct your attention to the big screens for the Welcome to Country.
Namani Nachili. Nico Ticani Mayartana. Tandawa Mayarta. Nyani, win the Kernacha. Nyamina, Malavera Miana. Zibrokiana. Kalatawala. Ma. We welcome you to the 2021 Toyota AFL Final Series. First qualifying final, Melbourne versus Brisbane Lions.
Would you please now rise and join with the coaches, players and umpires for the Australian National Anthem.
Two teams break the first qualifying final upon us. It's Melbourne and Brisbane for direct passage through to a preliminary final. No late changes. James Jordan and Reece Matheson, the two subs for the respective teams. And a few guys out there for both sides featuring in their first final tonight. For Melbourne, they have 9 players in their first final. 10 of them have never won a final. Obviously, the previous 9, and you can add Joel Smith to that list, has played in 1 previously for a loss. While for Brisbane, they've got 3 in their first final and 6 that have never won one. But they do have Grant Birchall, who's on a mission to try and become a 5-time premiership player.
Stop it.
He's playing tonight in his 26th final. The coin toss is coming up, but a chance for us to add the 5th member of our team. He's in the front row of the grandstand. Aaron Prynes is with us from the Adelaide Oval. G'day, Az.
Corby, it's a chilly 9 degrees down here, but the good news is that the rain has subsided. So we had 2 hours of torrential rain heading into the pre-game, and at the moment it looks like we might have some light drizzle throughout the contest, but regardless, it's not going to be as heavy as it was. Brisbane captain Dane Zorko has just won the toss and has decided to kick to the northern end. That's where the Lions cheer squad is. You could call it a cheer squad. There's probably about 10 to 15 members at the northern end supporting them. It's heavily Melbourne here tonight. Up to 20,000 allowed in, but it looks like the crowd will be about 12 to 13,000. Melbourne, meanwhile, at the southern end, their cheer squad is loaded, and they're all the way up the Riverbank stand end. The final benches as we head into bounce down for Melbourne: Jackson, Spargo, Rivers and Sparrow. For Brisbane, Berry, Cockatoo, Birchall and Pryor. Have a good call, team.
Have you got a tip for us, Aaron?
I'm going to go with Melbourne in this one.
Melbourne. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio. Who do you like?
I just like the D's. Just defensively, too sound.
D's for me.
Maisie.
D's for me as well.
It's a clean sweep across the board. So what could
Pressure's on. I'm sure they heard it.
What could possibly go wrong? All in readiness. Adelaide Oval, the other side of the bracket. What we know already, GWS 1-point winners over the Sydney Swans. Toby Green to be another hot button issue all week.
Oh, we've had another look at that too.
After close contact with umpire Matt Stevick, and we'll talk about that throughout the night, I'm sure. So there will be the Giants and the Cats next Friday night. Let's see what happens on this side of the draw. Melbourne and Brisbane. So every game they win, the bigger the next. From here, the first qualifying final on Grandstand AFL. It's Melbourne and Brisbane. You're with Andrew Mays.
So much on the line tonight for these two teams. Plenty of players, as Corbin mentioned, experiencing finals footy for the first time tonight. Petrarca tries to win it out of the middle. Neil wrapped up immediately by Oliver. He was going nowhere. Secondary stoppage to take place inside the centre circles. Gawn and McInerney go at it again. Gawn won it down. Petrarca coming through. Neil got a quick kick away though. Up towards half forward. No mark taken. Levers there to mop up for the D's. Straight down the middle as well. Risky kick. Petrarca took the mark going back with the flight. Just forward to the centre circles. And they're on to the D's. Deep forward. Fritsch has it punched away from him. Brown front and centre for the perfect start. He's kicked the first like a rover. Ben Brown gets the D's on the board after 33 seconds. 1 straight 6. They lead the Lions yet to score.
Well, that all started from a Jake Lever turnover, wasn't it? And I was watching that closely to see what actually went on in there. So Zorko's trying to get to Petrarca while Viney's trying to get to Zorko. So he's already trying to manipulate that little setup. But once the ball left, Petrarca just sat in the centre circle. Didn't move. Little chip kick there. And then just bombs it in to Bailey Fritsch. Good contest. Playing the rover. The big, nearly 7 foot forward, Benny Brown. Not bad, front and centre, and then the right foot Bunana and popped her through. Great start for the D's, Maisie.
Haven't had too many finals between these two teams, whatever version of the Brisbane Lions. You have to go way back to 1960. Old Fitzroy against Melbourne on that occasion. And the D's have won the only 2 encounters between the two sides. There's a free kick for a ruck infringement in the middle, and Brisbane will get some go forward here as it's McInerney hands it off to Coleman off the back of the square, kicks for Joe, and Danaher out to meet it, marks it right half forward, and Danaher will shoot from a step behind the 50.
Well, I wasn't sure about that handball off to a left footer running onto his wrong side. Yeah. He didn't get great purchase on it, and I think that's what favoured Joey Danaher being in front. We know his speed and mobility. Stephen May certainly got that as well, but hopefully a good start.
Had a big game here last year for the Bombers. Joe Danaher to answer straight back. He's dropped punt right to the line, and Joel Smith up, whacks it through. A rush behind, landing just short. Melbourne 1 straight, Brisbane 1 behind. 2.5 minutes in on Grandstand AFL. The first qualifying final between Melbourne and Brisbane.
Salem with the kick-in duties. Runs into the back pocket, then kicks off the instep almost. It's a fairly central kick, no mark taken. Coleman pushed underneath it, almost tunnelled. Now spinning out of a tackle. Bullen, did he cop one in the back on the way down? Yes, says the umpire. Neil Bullen with the free kick inside the centre square. He goes low, straight up the middle. It's a great kick too. McDonald on the end of it at centre half forward. Brayshaw all alone inside 50. Runs to 40. Chips it to the top of the square. Brown rises through his hands and through for 1 behind. Didn't pull the trigger there, Brayshaw. Instead went the unselfish move. They've come unstuck the D's. 1-1-7. They lead the Lions 1 behind.
Perfect bit of play, straight up. A little bit concerning, I think, if you're Chris Fagan sitting on the bench, that the last 2 bit of ball moves has gone straight through the middle. Practically an uncontested chain, and Melbourne looking very dangerous early with ball in hand.
The All-Australian halfback, Dan Rich, on the kick out, whacks it to halfback, and it's punched out of play. So a throw in, half forward here for Melbourne.
I don't think either of us were passing that ball back in the day. Was it Brayshaw's got a pin? He's had time and space, 45 outside angle. He go back, just
knock
take responsibility and have a shot, mate.
Melbourne by 6 early from the throw-in. McInerney first hands on the footy. Lions passing through. Collects the greasy footy. Jams it on the boot out of the defensive arc. Up to the wing. A sprawling effort. Can't complete it. McCarthy spills to Berry. Sockers it into the shins of Brayshaw, and it's out on the full inadvertently. Brisbane maintain possession.
Neil wants to go quickly. And he has to go back over his mark. Brayshaw marched to plant that right foot on the boundary line. Neil left half back here. Brownlow medalist runs inside, gains about 10 or 15 metres, then kicks a low ball. Lever had out-muscled his opponent, May, and dropped the mark. It's going to be a free kick to Bailey in the subsequent contest as well. So now Bailey to the top of the square, loads up. It's a long penetrating kick. McStay over the top. No mark taken. Hand passed inboard. Oh, Cameron all on his own. Snapped and goals from the top of the square. The Lions back level, 1-1-7 apiece. We've played 4 minutes in the opening quarter on Grandstand AFL.
It was a bit of a Hail Mary handball, but I think it was Melbourne players. I think it was the old 2, even 3 maybe, 2v1. Got sucked into the ball carrier and just left Charlie Cameron. He was standing about 10 metres off the contest, and it was just a handball from McCarthy, just blindly inside, that fell into his lap straight in front of goal practically, and snapped it. So opportunity just on the wing there for Stephen May just to stall that and get the ball out of bounds. He went for the mark and missed it, and then there's a free kick afterwards. But yeah, there was even 4 of them, 4v1 they went to. So bit of a mistake there. That's something that the backline coach and they'd talk about regularly, about not creating even 2v1s, let alone 4v1s, which opens up so many avenues when you do that.
I think it was Smith who left Charlie Cameron, went over to put pressure on.
Umpire Ray Chamberlain throws it up back in the middle of the ruck, share it, and then McInerney plucks it, jams it on the boot down to half forward for the Lions. McCarthy knocks it on into the path of Cameron, who races away from Smith. Sockers once, twice into the pocket, a third time back towards goal. It's out of play. And a throw in forward pocket in front of the beautiful old scoreboard at Adelaide Oval. And the Lions, the first 4 clearances in the game, scores level, 1-1-7 apiece. Boundary throwing. Forward pocket for Brisbane. Wet night in Adelaide from the throw-in. McInerney got a fist on it close to the boundary line. Oliver keeps it alive to Sparrow. Hands it to Langdon, who kicks off half-back for the D's.
High kick, parked underneath it was McDonald. Won it to the front of the contest. Now Harms off to Pickett. Bit of fancy footwork. Did well enough, and beautiful vision to kick off the left foot. Right to centre wing, he got it to Neil Bullen, kick inside, 50, coming the other way, Birchall, the experienced defender, takes the mark, switches play, short kick to Robinson, no nonsense, he gets it out of there, puts it on the boot about 50 metres away, Lever, third in line in that contest, on hands and knees, gets the hand pass to Petty, and back towards Sparrow, good chip inboard, and he finds Neil Bullen.
So Neil Bullen between wing and half forward. Scores level, 7 apiece through the opening 7 minutes. Kicks inside the pocket. Brown down there. Bounces off the chest of Gardner. No mark. Back to Andrews. Locked up straight away. Taken to ground by Fritsch and Oliver. And a ball up in the pocket for the D's. Let's go. Early takes speech.
It's pretty good. Yeah, conditions obviously helping both teams. So it's probably not the kind of way we saw it panning out this first quarter, because we thought it was all going to be raining.
McInerney down to Neil Bullen, hand pass to Petrarca. He turns it over by hand to Birchall. Tumbles a kick out of defensive 50.
Now a chance for Bowie, who kicks it to the top of the square. And then Pickett roaming front and centre. Gets away from him and out of bounds. Right forward pocket for the D's. A couple of repeat entries.
Bailey Fritsch's hair, immaculate. Just as a side note, yeah. And the white shorts doing Grant Birchall absolutely zero favours.
Ball to be tossed back in, right forward pocket. Pickett trying to get away from his tag. McDonald in the ruck, was looking for Pickett. And pushing him under the ball was Robinson. McInerney tries to get onto it. He's a bit laborious in his chase. Overrunning the football, McCluggage. Coleman smothered and out of bounds. They've gained about 35 metres there and worked it outside of defensive 50, the Lions.
First qualifying final, first elimination final to come tomorrow. So the loser of tonight will play the winner of the Bulldogs and the Bombers. The winner here, a week off and a prelim. Direct passage from the boundary throw-in. Gawn palms it down. Lions had it, lost it. Got it away to Robinson, though. Surge kick up to the wing. Unkind bounce for Brisbane. Rivers' hand pass went straight to Cameron. He's off and running like a track star. Takes a bounce, doesn't come back to him. Eventually runs onto it, into the open goal and pops it through from 15 out. Charlie's kicked 2 in a row. Then Brisbane in front for the first time after 9 minutes. Grandstand AFL, Charlie Cameron with a couple early. Brisbane 2-1-13, Melbourne 1-1-7. Brett Delidio, Brendan Goddard.
Geez, you weren't catching him then, were you, Beach? You had to hand over. If that was me trying to chase him there, you could almost see, I think it was Rivers, he was just like, oh no, I've just let go of that footy. He had more time just to be able to make a better decision than that. And Charlie Cameron, once he got that sniff and the goals in front of him, it was hammered down. He nearly botched it. The ball didn't want to come back to him. Obviously, the greasy conditions with the grass out there. He really, did his best to stuff that up, but he still had 5 metres on the rest of them, didn't he? Jeez, he's quick. Great start for Charlie and great start for the Lions.
Gives it a rev as well with the motorbike celebration out.
Expect that one.
Back in the middle, McInerney with the clearance. Long kick up towards the half forward. No mark taken. Petty copped it in the face. It ricocheted to Viney. Hand pass over the top is okay to Smith. Now to Jackson, who has to gather the bouncing ball. Hand pass to Neil Bullen. Over halfway now on the wing. Out further by hand to Langdon. Kicks inside 50. McDonald with the rise. Sparrow Lovely roving. Gets front and centre and answers straight back. Wow. Fantastic goal. We've got a shootout early. 2 goals apiece, 2-1, 13 apiece, and we're locked up after 14 minutes.
What wet weather beach.
Exactly. It's great. It's good. It's what we wanted, but good ball movement. Just a note earlier is Brisbane 7-1 in the clearances, which we said is going to play a huge part of it, especially centre square bounce clearances. I think they've had the 3 or 4 even from the first bounce of the game. So something they're just got to work on. 3 zips. So they're getting ground position there. I think it's McStay there with it. Facial injury of knee-friendly fire from Cockatoo. So he's going to go off with a blood rule. But good bit of play from Melbourne. Clean from the back half. Started with Salem. Oliver got involved in a handball chain that got Langdon the ball and kicked it forward to a contest.
He's out too, I reckon. He's really wonky.
Oh, that's not good.
Aaron Bryans will have a better look at it than us. Aaron, what can you see?
Corbs, he can barely hold himself up. There's blood streaming from his face. So both trainers trying to escort him off. His left arm is completely limp. I don't want to go too early, but I think this might be the end of the night for Dan McStay.
Oh, that's shattering.
Absolutely. He looks very groggy.
Completely accidental too.
So early in the game too. So any more injuries from here is going to have it. Well, if it's before half time in particular, is going to have a huge impact on the game, I would have thought.
Changes the shape of their forward line too. Their subs, Reese Matheson, playing his first final, so a different look for Brisbane. Scores level. McInerney gets the centre break, kicks to centre half forward. Joe's out to meet it. Danaher on the hop, collects. Hand pass away to Zorko. 60 out, kicks deep into the pocket. Lever holds out McCarthy, takes the mark. Back pocket for Melbourne. He can go long down the boundary line, western side.
The Melbourne or Adelaide people just boo you. They just don't forget, do they?
Birchall spoils. Brayshaw, hand pass away to Sparrow. Tumbles a kick to centre half forward. But Andrews there for Brisbane. Dangerous hand pass to Rich in the centre square. Hurried ball to half forward.
Lucky he got a bit of purchase on that one, Rich. Found the chest of Berry, who almost played on with the hand pass. Left half forward, he'll drive this inside 50. It'll land in the forward pocket. Danaher never got a run at it. It was a late spoil anyway. Might have been a free kick. Smith took the mark. Smith pokes it in short to Harms, and Harms over the top. That's okay as well to find Rivers. Still inside defensive 50. He goes short again. It hung in the air. Viney was spoiled at the last moment. Cameron tapped it to the advantage of Danaher, who snaps and misses. It is one behind, 2-2-14 Brisbane, 2-1-13 the D's. Let's head downstairs, Aaron Bryans.
Maisie, the Lions haven't wasted any time. Reese Matheson, the medical sub, has been activated and is about to make his way onto the field.
It's a big moment for Reese. 7 times the sub this year, playing in his first final tonight. Melbourne out of the defensive 50. Dangerous kick out to Langdon and a one-on-one off the boot of May, and it slips out of bounds. So a throw-in between wing and half forward for Brisbane. As Aaron told us earlier, the Lions winning the toss. Dane Zorko choosing to kick to the northern end, which is really the open end of the ground at Adelaide Oval, for those of you familiar with the venue, where the cricket scoreboard is, and the hill. And the boundary throw in, Jackson and McInerney. McInerney doing a mountain of works. Feeds a hand pass down to half forward. Right on the 50-metre arc. Petty collects for Melbourne. Gives it to Langdon. Hurried ball to Petrarca. Can't take the mark. Spills down to Harms. Still at half back, the Demons. Gives it to Langdon. And now away to Viney along the eastern boundary line.
He runs the boundary line, then kicks inboard. Brown got separation on his opponent. Didn't complete the mark. Starcevic spills it. Brown at ground level. He overruns it. Now Sparrow in over the top. There's plenty of players around this contest. Fritsch happy to see it locked up. It spurts out. Rich onto it now. Petrarca in there. It was stacks on in the end. And that ball moved about 5 metres with so many players around it. Finally, the umpire will come in and ball it up.
GWS by a point earlier today. Sydney out. We're down to 7. This for a spot in the prelim. Viney taken high. Advantage applied. Petrarca kicks it inside 50. Fritsch! He's up and got it. The juggled mark for Bailey Fritsch. Entering in from the side of the pack. And Melbourne sharpshooter can go back and have a set shot. 30 out left of centre.
I think Bailey Fritsch was actually caught up the ground and then turned Harris Andrews around, which created that separation, and then came floating in from Andrews taking a really aggressive position front on, and Fritsch identifying that, knowing that he could get the ball and find a bit of space out the back, so he's the third man in. I think if he didn't mark it, Ben Brown was in a really strong position.
Fritsch on the set shot, the lefty moves in, hits the post. A shaky start for Bailey Fritsch, slams it into the post. One he should have kicked from the corridor, so scores level, 2-2-14 each of two. 15 minutes in, grandstand AFL.
Birchall into the left back pocket, runs as far as he can, then kicks long. May, fantastic contested mark in that pack. Led Danaher to the ball on that occasion, and he can load up to go back inside 50 for the D's. That's what he does, into the forward pocket. Trying to get a run at it, Fritsch again, almost brought it down. Andrews there to mop up, left foot spiral, no good, out of bounds on the full. This will come back again, Melbourne getting a couple of repeat entries. Free kick going the way of Rivers. He's about 70 around from goal. Very congested forward line, so he just puts it to the top of the square. The Flyers at the back, McDonald, Brown, hand pass to no one in particular. Lines with the numbers, fantastic smother. Berry tried to get it on his left foot to snap it out of the immediate danger. Brayshaw ensures that's going nowhere. Another stoppage, this time a throw in inside, attacking 50 for the D's.
Well, this last 3 minutes is what we expect from Melbourne, just that forward half pressure, keeping the ball in the forward half. The re-entries here, little smother there from Brayshaw, just keeping it inside 50.
McDonald tries to grab it out of the ruck, spills to Pickett, charging through the stampede, and Pickett bends it through from the pocket. Keziah Pickett back in his home state with a highlight in his first final. A bender from the right forward pocket, and Melbourne's back in front. Second lead change of the opening term. Melbourne 3-2-20, Brisbane 2-2-14. D's by that goal. Brett Delidio, Brendan Goddard on grandstand AFL.
Well, stoppage goals, Beach. It's a surefire way to know that you're just not quite at your best to start this game, and I feel like they're just feeling under the pump a little bit here, the Lions. Obviously, Harris Andrews kicks that one straight out of bounds on the full. There we saw Tommy McDonald up against Big O, Oscar McInerney in the ruck. He's able to get in front position and just try and dribble it forward. Cosy Pickett swooped on that. How's that finish? Right foot to the boundary, just jags that one through.
But it was was it their third re-entry?
Yep.
Back in, so, you know, building the pressure from all the right things, setting up the ground behind. We just had a down-the-ground vision of they actually had two free behind the ball, Melbourne. So to answer our questions earlier, they're allowing that +1.
Another entry as well as Gawn goes inside 50. Mark, though, taken by Rich, who can just relieve things here for the Brisbane Lions, who just need to steady. They trail by that Pickett goal. Rich, long kick. No mark taken over the top. Nice ball by Petty. And out of bounds. Right on centre wing. Ball to be tossed back into play.
Horrible start for Dan McStay. Copped an inadvertent boot to the nose. Looked concussed in the incident. As a result, he's been tapped out of the game, as Aaron told us. So Dan McStay subbed out. Reece Matheson in. His first final in the opening 10 minutes from the boundary throw-in. Neal from the stoppage, can't collect it, just soccers it forward from the wing. Tacking edge of the centre square, Berry's hand pass picked off by Rivers, got it through to Lever. They close him down, he's gang tackled, taken to ground. And the ball up, attacking edge of the centre square for Brisbane.
So that matchup we talked about too, the Oliver matchup, Lions has gone to him, and it looks like Harms, when he is in the midfield, is playing on Lockie Neal.
Neal on hands and knees trying to farm this one out from the stoppage. Oliver running over the top, ball going nowhere. Another stoppage will take place. Notice umpire Chamberlain threw it up in the middle, so it is a damp night. Thrown up and Neal's able to shark it, kick inside 50. Lever dropped it, front and centre Bailey. Classic roving goal, he finishes beautifully. Dribbles it through from 20 out directly in front and scores a level again for the fourth time tonight. It might just be one of those nights. 19 played opening quarter, 3-2-20 apiece.
Well, another clearance, isn't it? Kick to equal numbers there. Melbourne don't create a +1 when the ball's in the attacking half of the opposition. So
who was playing on Neal?
10v5, so we just highlighted that. So I'm not sure. I put my hands up the air after he got that tap because he was standing there unattended to that stoppage. So that's poor
communication set
Yeah,
up.
and accountability from Mel. Yeah,
They had
it was.
two there.
That's
offensive
bad.
side. They had McCluggage there as well.
Yeah. So they were actually, looked like it was a set play from Melbourne trying to get the ball on the outside because Harms went to the outside and he was his direct opponent that last stoppage. So
And Rivers just went one way and Bailey went the other where the ball went. So a couple of learnings out of that one, Beach.
McInerney with 5 touches, leading possession getter for Brisbane so far. He's involved in the ruck again here. They both share it. Whacked forward a second time by the Lions. Picked up by Bowie, back edge of the square. Pumps it forward, but straight to Rich. And the All-Australian at centre half back for Brisbane comes out to the commentary wing. Lyons takes the mark, links up with a run of Kadeem Coleman, sells the dummy, trying to take on Harms, forced to give the hand pass to Robinson out wide, kicks into the pocket. McCarthy went early. Just needed to hang in the air and defy gravity. He couldn't do that on the shoulders of Lever. And gives away the free. And Lever will get it in the back pocket. 3-2-20 apiece as we tick into time on opening term. McStay already out of the game. Suspected concussion. Reece Matheson in for Brisbane.
We've seen him leap before, but that was even asking a bit much of himself. Lever with the kick out, nothing doing there from the contest. Missing the target was Adams by hand. It is out of bounds. Left half forward for the Lions.
Max, Oscar, hold the meter.
3-2-20 apiece. Only with the last goal for the Lions. Ball to be tossed back into play. Gawn and McInerney to do battle in the ruck again. McInerney trying to get to the front. Gawn gets there instead. Oliver coming through the stoppage. McInerney just whacks it away from him and he finds the boundary line out of bounds. Another stoppage here at left half forward for the Lions.
Max, Oscar, hold the meter.
Haven't got a 30-year-old in their team tonight, Melbourne. Remarkably, last week they were the 16th oldest team in the competition, so incredibly young. Compare that to Brisbane, who have 4 30-year-olds in their team tonight, including Grant Birchall at 33, the oldest player on the ground. He's Gawn, the leader for Melbourne, swats it away in the ruck, out to Zorko, and the opposition skipper skids over the boundary line with it.
What's their average games played, Melbourne? It's like 80-something, is it, this weekend?
It's a remarkable profile for a finals team. So 9 guys that haven't featured in the finals before. They've got a couple of teenagers out there. And Jake Bowie, isn't he on the magic carpet right at the moment? Just his 5th game, the 18-year-old, in a big-time final from the boundary throw-in on the wing. Oliver went without it. Neal doesn't. Collects. Hand pass to Coleman. Links up with Birchall, the veteran, down to half-forward. There's Bowie. Puts in the spoil. Unkind bounce for Brayshaw. Loose footy half-forward for Brisbane. Bailey soccers it to Joe. Gets it back on the 1-2. Bailey to Zorko. Kicks top of the goal square. McCartney can't mark. Cameron tries to soccer. Still top of the goal square. Leave it back for Melbourne. Hands it to Langdon in the back pocket.
Kicks a floater, but it's coming back. Rich on the end of it. He's 60 from goal. Puts it high into the top of the square. No fly. A couple of fists at the side of the pack. Gawn, big collision on that occasion with Robinson. And coming through was Harms. Hand pass. Put Petrarca under all sorts of pressure. He turned it over. But winning it back was Harms. Now Petrarca, a snap. It ends up being a barrel and it'll bounce end over end. Fritz trying to get on the end of it. Keeps it in. Paddles to himself twice. 3 times. Now he's inside 50. Gardner gets in front of him. Tracked back nicely. But Spargo's on the end of it. Thought about the hand pass. With the snap instead. And just misses to the left. Jeez, there was something out of nothing. It looked like that was destined for a boundary throw-in on the wing. And Fritsch kept it alive. They hit the lead again, the D's, by 1 point. 3-3-21 plays 3-2-20 after 23 minutes.
Charlie Spargo, another one of those Melbourne players to have a career year. Just his 57th game tonight. He's played every game this season. Rich goes on a stroll from the kick out, heads to halfback. Viney and Lyons compete for the footy. Viney was taken high. It's coming back inside 50. Viney from 70 out in that launch pad. D's by a point. Couple of early lead changes in the game. And Viney to drive Melbourne deep to the top of the goal square. Brown down there, thumped away by Adams. Robinson knocks it back into the corridor. Neil Bullen puts his head over it, tackled immediately by Zorko. Ump lets them go. Gawn collects. His hand pass spills back into dispute. Here's Neil Bullen charging through. Went without it. Still 30 out from Melbourne's goal. Spills to Brayshaw. Kicks a high up and under to the top of the goal square. Skims off the knuckles of Andrews. That was dangerous. McInerney to Coleman. His handball a turnover. Invites Oliver in. And Clary snaps it through for the D's. A gift from Kadeem Coleman. And Clayton Oliver makes him pay for the error. And now a bit of push and shove. Danaher involved with young Bowie, and Stephen May says, how about picking on someone my size? Melbourne by 7 points, 24 played in the opening term.
I think big Harris Andrews, if he had his time again with that spoil, he might try and use his fist rather than his scone.
I think he used both, didn't he?
It skunked straight off it and hit him on the forehead. Didn't clear the area, did it, and just invited the Melbourne players back in, and it just highlights the sort of year that Clayton Oliver's having, given that everywhere he is, wasn't even tracking the footy too much, and it still finds him adding a goal in the finals. He doesn't kick a lot throughout the year, does he, Clayton Oliver? But he's become a very damaging player when he does get his hands on it.
Remember he had that game against the Crows earlier in the year? Something stupid like 35 and kicked 3.
Yeah, that's a big day.
10th goal of the season for Clayton Oliver. Lions now with the stoppage win from the middle. Hand pass from Zorko to Neil, who soccers it forward. Now a chance for Bowie, who floats back and gets the hand pass away. Oliver in there, he's taken off it, could have been holding the ball. McCluggage, his hand pass knocked down, it's getting a bit slippery out there. Neil, hand pass out the back, and running forward of the ball was Cameron. He has 3 in the opening term. Snapped from the top of the square. 4-3-27 the D's, 4-2-26 the Lions. Let's head downstairs, Aaron Bryans.
Maisie, a fair bit happening off the ball after that play. So Clayton Oliver getting into it with Jared Berry, who shoved a forearm into his face. So that might be looked at following this contest.
Brennan Goddard and Brett Delidio, Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, I think Melbourne players, one, they're being dominated around the clearances. Centre square clearances are 5-2, but that's the only real weakness of Melbourne's game at the minute, and then Brisbane are really capitalising. And again, I think Melbourne's players just got sucked into the ball carrier, the man with the ball, or Charlie Cameron just held his width, and no defenders showing him his direct opponent. We're not sure who it was at that bit of play, but not showing him the respect he deserves, because he's just sitting off the contest waiting for it. Can read the play. They had the numbers there, Brisbane, but they've got to show him more respect. But for mine, they have to get going around the stoppages. Melbourne are being dominated.
Melbourne by a point, 26 played opening term, back in the middle. Centre clearance to Sparrow, kicks a high up and under to centre half forward. Rich Spoils out to half back for Brisbane. McCluggage under the pump, hands it to Zorko, tumbles a kick down the wing, only as far as Gawn. Took an age to get rid of it, caught by Bailey. Ball spills out Brisbane's way. McCluggage got it from Zorko, gives it back to Bailey, kicks for Cameron. He's off the chain in this opening term. Charlie Cameron with 3 already. Kicks inside 50. Berry and May bang bodies. Spills down to Lever. The numbers with Melbourne. The kick's not good, and Lever puts it over the fence. Out on the full. Free kick for Mitch Robinson and the Lions at half forward.
He pokes the pass forward. Oh, it was through the hands of Danaher. He would have had a shot at goal from 50. May there to mop up for the D's. Snap out is not all that convincing. Coleman stood under it and took a good mark. He can reload and go back inside 50. Called to play on. Keeps it low into the pocket over the head of Danaher. Great sprawling, diving effort. Just getting his fingertips underneath it was Petty, and he takes it in the left back pocket.
What a year he's had, coming in as cover for Adam Tomlinson, one of 9 Demons in their first final tonight. Long kick down the wing, Jackson! Wow. The rising star keeps on rising. What a hang on the shoulders of Marcus Adams. Luke Jackson takes a specky on the wing, offloads to Salem, links up with Oliver, the long kick to half forward, and Melbourne's on. Brown takes the mark, 55 out, pokes into the pocket, and Ed Langdon backing back, takes the mark. Left forward pocket for the D's. But what a lifter from Luke Jackson.
How good was that? He's had a fantastic year, hasn't he, Luke Jackson? As he gets stronger and better, more control of his body, he's going to become virtually unstoppable, I reckon, the big fella. He's given his mobility and ways he can get around the ground.
This is the next big thing in a league of big things, Luke Jackson. Ed Langdon snaps it through. Just what Melbourne needed on the stroke of quarter time. Langdon with his first goal in a couple of months, and Melbourne by 7 points. 5-3-33, Brisbane 4-2-26. Half-hour mark opening term on Grandstand AFL.
Geez, our predictions really haven't come to fruition, have they? We're now no rain and there's a shootout, so 9 goals in the first quarter. So
it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it is great. But Melbourne are doing a pretty good job. They look more sound for mine. Brisbane are doing a great job around stoppages, getting ground business, really capitalising You probably couldn't, we don't have the stats, but they probably don't categorise the scores from stoppages, do they? But it's probably the second, third, fourth phase from those clearances of what they're scoring from, because we haven't seen Brisbane go from end to end or, you know, a chain of possession from the back half. Melbourne are defending really well, locked in the front half and getting re-entries.
Aaron Bryant's on the boundary.
Corby, James Harm's about to make his way back onto the field, but he had a quick spew on the sidelines. He must have caught one in the contest heading off.
Neil tackled by Gawn in the middle. He's clear it through Oliver. Left foot snap towards the wing. Pickett played it in front of himself. Petrarca coming through. Just had a fumble. Matheson and Pickett, both of them collide. Cleanest through the stoppage was Neil Bullen. Hand pass to Oliver. Lightning kick. And dropping a sitter was Brown. Dispossessed in the end was Sparrow coming through. Should just about be 50 after Gawn had a snap towards goal. Umpire says bring it back. No 50-metre penalty there despite the protests from a lot of the Brisbane defenders.
Lead out chest mark kick goal, don't you?
Oh, big Jason.
Big Jason Dunstall.
Big bunger.
Yeah.
That you can't make those mistakes in a final.
Rich clears the defensive 50, kicks up to the wing, forward and crashes the pack. Led with the fist and finds the safety of the boundary line. So a boundary throw in, 31 minutes this opening term. We've still got 3 minutes on the game clock before quarter time. That's because we've had 9 goals in the opening term. It's only the 4th time all year Melbourne have kicked 5 or more in the opening quarter, and it's come in a final. They lead by 7 points from the throw-in. Neil first clean disposal through traffic to Bailey. Hurried kick to half forward, all through the hands of May. Danaher caught one, lying on his backside, kicks it over his head inside 50. Cameron went without it. Harms trying to pick up the slippery footy. Tackled, dispossessed. Smith went without it for Melbourne. Now Lever grabs it. He's tackled. Pack forms around him. Forward 50 for Brisbane. Matheson extracts it into the path of Neil. Sockers to the top of the goal square. Whacked away by Cockatoo to Robinson. Hand pass to Zorko. High up and under. Shot meant for the goal face, and it's marked in the back pocket. Joel Smith comes up with it for Melbourne. Last line of defence. Demons by 7.
Smith left back pocket, long kick. Fly was from McDonald, didn't take the mark. Now a chance for Petrarca, hand pass to Neil Bullen, who's waltzing through the centre square. Switches play to the broadcast wing. Brayshaw takes the mark, and he goes further afield to Brown, who gets a few Bronx cheers. It's a bit harsh after dropping a sitter earlier, and he pokes it inside 50 to Harms. 48 from goal. Fancy's a little too far out to go the journey, although he has pointed that way. Looks like he's trying to lock eyes with one of his leading forwards.
15 gone.
He's trying to seduce him, I think. I'm thinking about you, mate, but don't bother.
The old small forward trick.
Yeah.
Old Milne, when he first gets in the pocket, he pretends like he wants to kick
Hold it in his left hand.
Oh, no, you covered.
James Harms will come in from just beyond 50. And he goes very low and flat. Lands at the top of the square. Coleman, hand pass to Adams, who tries to push off one, then kicks it straight through for a behind.
Oh, there's that pressure again.
Margin is now 8 points in favour of the D's. 33 minutes played in this opening turn. It's been a long one.
I don't reckon they've practiced that before because no one seemed to be ready, and Jack Vine was the only bloke sitting there ready to be sat on.
Yeah, Frisch nearly got there in the end, but
Melbourne cranking up the heat. 82 seconds on the game clock before quarter time. Demons by 8. A floater from Rich out to the wing. May spoils into the path of Neil. His kick chopped out. Bailey palms it into the path of Starcevic. Brisbane maintain possession. McCluggage by hand to Robinson. Back edge of the centre square. Sends a kick across the centre square towards Berry. Flies, can't mark. Spills down to Zorko on his hands and knees. Gawn knocks it out, but straight to Bailey. Brisbane come up with it high half forward. Bailey swings a hand pass out to Matheson. Looks for the unguarded goal square. Petty back with Cockatoo. Off the hands of Petty into the behind post. And a throw in forward pocket for Brisbane. So they got it end to end eventually. It wasn't pretty. Melbourne by 8. Final minute here of the opening term. 34 on the count-up clock. Melbourne by 8 points.
Lions will be keen to hit the scoreboard very late in this opening quarter. Gawn won it down. Cockatoo had a fumble. Gawn a toe poke. Bowie a toe poke in turn to Viney. Hand pass goes the way of Salem. Now to Brayshaw by hand, and he's tackled over the boundary line and out of bounds. 30 around from the Brisbane goal. Good pressure there by the small forward. Zorko carrying him out of bounds. Throw in to take place. deep inside the left forward pocket. In it comes. Gawn and McInerney again. Gawn just soccers it out of there. It'll bounce. It pitches right and out of bounds. Is it deliberate? No. Few players appealing for it, including Dane Zorko. 70 around from the Brisbane goal. Ball will be tossed back into play.
Pete Oscar McInerney held his own so far.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Yeah, he's, I wouldn't sort of say winning it, but definitely nullifying Max Gawn's influence, his ability to tap the ball.
Gawn wins that battle, grabs it out of the ruck, tumbles a kick to half forward. Rich back though for Brisbane. Hand pass to Harris Andrews after missing last week. Kicks beyond the wing. Gawn down there to meet it. Spills the mark. Bowie hands it back to Gawn. Kicks along the boundary line. Kicks it back to Andrews. Takes the intercept mark for Brisbane. It's the second tick down on an entertaining opening term. 9 goals in the opening quarter of a qualifying final. Couple of lead changes on 4 occasions after the start. The score was level. And it's Melbourne who edge ahead at quarter time. 5-4-34, Brisbane 4-2-26. The goal kickers in that opening term, one for Oliver, one for Langdon, one for Sparrow, Pickett and Brown. Ben Brown kicking the first of the game. While for Brisbane, 3 for Charlie Cameron. They left out Michael Hibberd, one of the emergencies, who's done some big jobs on some small forwards. And Charlie off the chain in that opening term with 3. Zach Bailey has the other Brisbane goal. Before our experts, Aaron Bryans is on the boundary. Aaron, what happened with Dan McStay earlier?
Yeah, Corby, so Dan McStay collided with a teammate in the contest, copped a knee to the face, immediately had to be carried off the ground, was super limp, looked concussed. They haven't actually done the test with him, but he went straight to the bench. The good news is he's up and about. He's chucked the tracksuit on, obviously, and been subbed in for Reece Matheson, but it took a good 5 or 6 minutes for the blood to stop pouring out of his nose. He's got a big shiner under his left eye as well, and you imagine that if Brisbane do have to play next week, he'll be missing it.
So it's not the way the night was meant to start for Dan McStay out of the game. And as Aaron mentioned, we've seen Reece Matheson already. The medical sub for Melbourne is James Jordan, unused. On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital and ABC News Radio, it's quarter time at Adelaide Oval. The Demons by 8 points. This is Grandstand AFL.
ABC Sport now has its very own newsletter, and we'd be pumped to have you on board.
Woohoo! The ABC of Sport will provide a wrap of all the best stuff that's happening in sport every week.
Simply go to abc.net.au/connect
and get ready for a sport hit. In your inbox every Friday, starting soon.
Get on board with the ABC of Sport newsletter
for content that makes you think.
Or allows you not to.
The 2021 AFL Final Series.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Petrarca took the mark going back with the flight. Just forward to the centre circles. And they're on to the D's. Deep for Rich. Has it punched away from him. Brown front and centre for the perfect start. He's kicked the first like a rover. Bailey to the top of the square. Loads up. It's a long penetrating kick. McStay over the top. No mark taken. Hand passed inboard. Oh, Cameron all on his own. Snapped and goals from the top of the square.
Unkind bounce for Brisbane. Rivers' hand pass went straight to Cameron. He's off and running like a track star. Takes a bounce. Doesn't come back to him. Eventually runs onto it. Into the open goal and pops it through from 50 now. Charlie's kicked 2 in a row.
Hand pass to Neil Bullen, over halfway now on the wing. Out further by hand to Langdon, kicks inside 50. McDonald with the rise, Sparrow lovely roving, gets front and centre and answers straight back. Wow, fantastic goal. We've got a shootout early.
McDonald tries to grab it out of the ruck, spills to Pickett, charging through the stampede, and Pickett bends it through from the pocket. Keziah Pickett back in his home state with a highlight in his first final.
Thrown up and Neil's able to shark it, kick inside 50, Lever dropped it, front and centre Bailey, classic roving goal, he finishes beautifully.
Spills to Brayshaw, kicks a high up and under to the top of the goal square, skims off the knuckles of Andrews, that was dangerous. McInerney to Coleman, his handball a turnover, invites Oliver in, and Clary snaps it through for the D's.
Oliver in there, he's taken off, it could have been holding the ball, McCluggage, his hand pass knocked down, it's getting a bit slippery out there. Neil, hand pass out the back, and running forward to the ball was Cameron. He has 3 in the opening term.
The 2021 AFL Finals Series on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Sounds of the opening quarter from the first qualifying final at Adelaide Oval. Melbourne by 8 points. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio on Grandstand AFL.
Well, an arm wrestle. I said it's probably not going as we kind of scripted or predicted prior to the game. So
I thought this might be the final score. Be dour, slog, just wet.
A weather forecast that doesn't look promising, which is he's holding off for now, which is great for us. So yeah, pretty. I think both teams will be pretty happy. I think for Melbourne, just the clearance work for Brisbane got them in a really strong position. We highlighted coming into the game, 12-6, yeah.
And then they got it back to 13-10.
But early on where they did...
they were down zip 3 or zip 4
zip
even.
3, but they set up the game really well from that ground position. It wasn't as if they scored from stoppages directly, but it gave them a pretty good chance of scoring, which they capitalised on. So Melbourne, look, again, most areas really strong except for that. The Big O is doing a great job just nullifying, I think, Gawn's influence, particularly in centre square bounce too. It looked like he hasn't really had a clean, hit out or hit out to advantage. So he's nullifying that, which is allowing them Brisbane to clean up, somewhat of a mess. Because I think that's what we can ask, as Jeddak Edcock alluded to, that just make a contest against arguably the best ruckman in the competition and let our midfielders get to work when the ball it hits the ground. So they're doing a good job at that. And then on the other end, Melbourne, I think they're looking pretty clean. Ball movement at times looks really strong. Again, Brisbane aren't strong defensively, so there are gaps that will open up, but they've moved the ball when they've had the chance really well, been pretty clean with it, and taken a number of opportunities and set up the game well when they've had a chance to get the ball inside 50. They've held it in. There was a couple of times there where they had the re-entry 2-3 times, got second, third opportunities or looks at scoring. So yeah, the game's pretty entertaining this first quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the concerning thing at the moment for the D's would be how easily Charlie Cameron's been able to kick his goals. He's kicked 3 already. We highlighted probably at the start that Hibberd, we thought, was probably the matchup for him, left out of the side. So who's next? And it's been Smith. He's just been found wanting a couple of times, but no doubt. Look,
a couple of poor decisions.
Just a couple of poor decisions. Yeah,
leaving him when he's in a dangerous position.
Just got a bit ball watchy, didn't he? And went over to try and put pressure on, try to do the right thing, but when you're on a dangerous player, the best place to be is right in his back pocket, and don't allow him anywhere goal side. So they'll learn from that, and hopefully they can tighten that up.
He only played in round 22 for the first time this year. It's his third game of the year, and he's stayed in with 3 against him in this opening term. Second quarter action underway. Gawn wins it down to Oliver. Hand pass out towards Sparrow. Tackles a kick to centre half forward for Melbourne. Here's Jackson, collects, tackled, dispossessed. Spills out towards Rich, who chucks it back on the boot. Kicks down the broadcast wing. Charlie and Smith the target, and Smith gets a fist in there, finds the safety of the boundary line. Melbourne by 8 points. The other big news out of that opening quarter was the suspected concussion for Dan McStay, which just changes things slightly in Brisbane's forward line. It's one big they don't have to worry about, Melbourne. And obviously the 2 keys down back. Charlie Cameron, their biggest concern so far from the boundary throw-in. Neil on the bottom of the pack, hands it out straight to Joel Smith, chucks it on the boot, back inboard, and Herschel takes the intercept mark for Brisbane.
Hand pass to the running Rich, who goes by hand this time to Zorko, now to McCluggage, who delivers inside 50, but Fullerton should have taken the mark. Berry it was rather. Snap from Danaher. Too much on it, too much bend. In fact, he's missed everything. He was in a fairly central location and had way too much bend on that. Out of bounds on the full.
Fair service from McCluggage. Beautiful kick inside 50, wasn't it? Berry just wasn't able to hold on, but the benefit of the doubt, it was a greasy night. Get the Grippo out there, Beach.
That's an interesting matchup too that we didn't predict. We talked about Lever and who would go to him, and McStay obviously we mentioned, but he's now been subbed out. But Berry playing as that deep forward, just trying to make Lever accountable.
Adams from the contest, high kick inside 50, Lever got half a fist on it. May there now, he's tackled, taken to ground. Eventually the ball spills free. Oliver had it ripped from him. Fullerton just puts it to the hot spot by hand. D's try and work it out. Neil Bullen, he misses it. Now Neil onto it, snap towards the top of the square. Fist comes once, and then May didn't go for it a second time. Tackled on that occasion by Cameron and out of bounds. Right forward pocket.
Umpire saying he got a kick there with that tackle from Charlie Cameron. I reckon it dribbled off his knee, didn't it?
Knee or thigh. Benefited out.
Yeah.
Melbourne by 8 points. To the river end in this second quarter. Brisbane from the boundary throwing, whacked back out of play. Both ruckmen got a piece of it. Do it all again, forward pocket for Brisbane. Giants by a point earlier today over Sydney. The Swans stormed home, but never hit the front again after 5 early lead changes. Toby Green seemingly making contact with umpire Matt Stevick at three-quarter time. Be the big talking point post-game and throughout the weekend and throughout the week, I'm sure. From the boundary throw-in, back outside the forward 50 for Brisbane. Little kick from Viney along the line, finds Neil Bullen, chucks it on the boot and finds Brown. He takes the mark in front of the benches. Melbourne by 8 points, early doors, second term.
Neil Bullen up to 10 possessions already, the leading ball winner on the field for the Demons. Brown with it at left half back. Long kick. Jackson will fly. One grab, not the second. Might have had an arm chop though. Umpire says play on advantage. Oliver Swoop kicked inside 50 and Fritsch running back with a flight takes it on his chest. Left forward pocket. He's about 25 out from goal.
I think it was Gardner that there was a free kick and the advantage was paid to Oliver. But I think Gardner was on Fritsch and just stopped because he heard a whistle. What do coaches used to say, Lids?
Just keep playing.
Just keep playing it out. It is tough in a contested situation when the whistle blows. Yet sometimes you don't know whose free kick it is, but I think it was obvious then. So Darcy Gardner's just got to work a little bit harder just to get goal side when he's in that aggressive position.
For his first of the evening, Fridge, dead eye, straight through the middle. 6-4-40 the D's, 4-2-26 the Lions. We've played 3.5 minutes in this second term on Grandstand AFL.
Well, it was a good contest there, wasn't it, from Luke Jackson leading up, Beach. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going, it's probably not hard, it's probably smarter when Darcy Gardner's positioning was just too far up in front, too aggressive on Fritsch, which allowed him out the back.
Geez, I've spoken about him. We've done a lot of Melbourne games this year. His ability to read the play quick up the field and to be on the move and getting into the right spots is as good as any forward. And it's a reason why I think he's kicked so many goals this year. Well, he was getting shots earlier in the year, wasn't he? And wasn't kicking them, but now he's become an absolute deadite. And no doubt, my old assistant coach, development coach down there, Choco, will say, I've had a fair bit to play in that. I've had a fair bit in the Choco footy.
Got the Choco Sharons out.
The kick doctor, I think he calls himself.
No doubt, no doubt.
He's up to 48 goals, 21 for the year, Bailey Fritsch. The game's at 14 points, as wide as it's been Melbourne's way. Petrarca does the work, the ball in the middle. Hand pass out to Viney, kicks inside 50. They crash in from all directions, spills down to Gardner. Brisbane out of the defensive arc. McCluggage away to Coleman. Coleman ugly, bouncing kick down the wing. Spills to Oliver. Melbourne back with it, still in the front half. Hand pass to Rivers. Hands it away to Viney inside the centre square. High ball inside. Fritsch competes. Spills down to Spargo front and centre. Hand pass to Brayshaw. Great vision. Ben Brown all alone in the pocket. Takes the mark. Told to play on. McCluggage runs him down. It's holding the ball.
Touched, was it?
Oh.
We didn't hear that come through the TV mics on the umpire or anything.
We did not pick that up, and neither did Ben Brown, it's fair to say. McCluggage wins the footy, swings it across the goal face, and Kadeen Coleman in the opposite pocket for Brisbane.
Went to start writing down the score as Ben Brown was going to march to the top of his mark. Coleman, right back pocket, long kick over the head of May and Danaher. Jackson onto it. Could have taken it out and kept on going instead. Hooks it around the corner to the top of 50 to his fellow ruckman Gawn, who flew, didn't take the mark. Coleman at ground level. Jams it on the boot. Works it up okay to Fullerton. And Fullerton is a man all alone at centre half forward. Berry going back with a flight takes it. Look to draw the opponent. Lever's taken a step on the mark and he's going to be marched to 5 metres out. Certain goal coming up.
So instinctive to do that.
Yeah, exactly right. I was just going to say the same thing.
This was always going to happen in a big-time final, wasn't it? As soon as they introduced this rule, we knew that there was going to be moments in big games where this would catch players out.
So the only thing technically he could do there is potentially run straight back to give himself, because he moved meters. Lateral. Yep. So he could...
No, you can't. Once he says stand, you can't.
Berry from the top of the square, goal. And the Lions are back within 8 points. 6-4-40 plays 5-2-32 after 6.5 minutes on Grandstand AFL. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio.
Yeah, okay, just to clarify, so before the umpire says stand...
You have to be already moving back.
You have to be moving back, and then he could have shifted lateral.
Yep.
So he had to make an early decision, but because the umpire said stand, he literally cannot move.
And we're seeing some teams do that earlier in the year. They saw the mark where they pull straight back to 5. So therefore the kicker thinks, I've got some room here, I'm going to go forward. But it also gives you that ability to go laterally. But he didn't read that. The cue earlier, he's thinking, right, I've got to push him back. As we've all been taught probably, get up onto the mark, push him back if you can, and then move. and it's just so instinctive. He's obviously been told, and he's got, it's just a little fake, isn't it, to go to the left, and he's bought every bit of it. Results in a goal, unfortunately, but makes the contest good for us.
As I mentioned, 14 points was as wide as it had been in the game, so back to 8 Melbourne's way. We've now travelled 8 minutes in this quarter as Brisbane out of the middle again. McCluggage runs into Salem, lost the footy as the two made contact, spills to Gawn. He's tackled, it's held to him, so we'll have a ball up again inside the centre square.
Some interesting decisions being made by Melbourne midfielders, particularly in the centre square bounce. Unaccountability, not actually protecting a guy in a dangerous position.
Oliver short kick forward to Viney, tackle dispossessed. Petrarca hands it out to Langdon, floats a kick under pressure to Spargo. He marks in the launch pad. 70 out right half forward, searching for extra distance of his right boot, kicks for Brown. Coleman crashes the pack, punches it out of play. And a throw in forward pocket for the D's. 8 minutes into the second term, Melbourne by 8. A goal each in the quarter so far. Earlier today, the Giants by a point over the Swans. Sydney eliminated the Giants playing Geelong in a semi next Friday night to start week 2.
Ball tossed back into play, forward pocket. Jackson, he just saw the flash of Pickett going past. Missed him with the tap though. Danaher out to meet it. Happy to see this over for a boundary throw in his Lions as he's shoved over by Oliver. A ball in to take place outside of attacking 50, so a win there for the Lions. Demons into attack here, 60 from goal. McInerney and Gawn to reconvene. Toss back into play. Gawn won it down to Langdon, who picked it up eventually. Hand pass over the top is okay to Petrarca, who tries to shake Lyons, couldn't do so. Ball came back to him, and then he does. Second time round, hand pass over the top to Harms, who kicks inside 50. Jackson! Well, just read it better in the air than anyone else around him. Gardner almost went towards the boundary and left the pathway clear for him to have a run at it.
How good was Christian Petrarca there in the phone booth? They thought they had him absolutely dialed. He was a real chance to be tackled, taken out of play, stop the play on centre wing, but his ability to get out of that traffic, get it forward onto Harms, turns and just bangs it in. This guy's a real player on the rise.
Jackson, right forward pocket. For another for the D's. Kicks, it's across the face. One behind. 6-5-41 now Melbourne. 5-2-32 Brisbane. We've played 10 minutes in this second term.
He joined Jared Rivers and Jesse Hogan during the week as the third Melbourne player to win the Rising Star. The seventh, by the way, out of the state of Western Australia. He joins the man who's got the footy at the moment, the yellow Sharon in hand, Daniel Rich. You can give it a whack with that left-footed bazooka all the way out to the wing. Trying to find Fullerton, no mark, spills down to Ben Brown, swings a hand pass out to Brayshaw, D's coming back in, Jackson rises and Jackson marks in the pocket.
His hands are on.
His hands are on, yeah. The last one on Gardner was great forward craft. Maisie, you mentioned that he read it better. He not only read it better, but he saw the intent from Gardner to get body on him and actually almost like got out of the way of it to avoid the contact, because he knew if he did get it, Gardner was in a strong position to spoil. And in that one, and Harris Andrew is just playing aggressive, but he's got to be closer that if that kick does come in, he's got to be close enough to close the space.
The teenager in his first final, he's hit both posts.
Odds of that?
It's extremely rare. Off the left-hand goal post, it ricocheted into the right-hand goal post and goes in the book as one behind.
Well, being the stats man you are, I thought you may have known that, the odds.
Try doing that again. That's a 10-point lead for Melbourne, 11 minutes into the second term.
Matheson takes the mark, right back pocket rather, kicks long, and Gawn rises above the pack and takes the mark. He'll kick from centre wing. Running behind for the hand pass is Rivers. He gets to the logo, then pumps it long into 50. And good mark taken in front by Adams. Had to wait for contact from behind. And McDonald was a little too late on the scene. Adams, about 30 metres out from his defensive goal. Pulls the kick short at the last moment. The only player that favoured is Lever, who takes the intercept mark. Hand pass to the running Oliver, who instead of loading up, goes short, and it's a good kick too. Langdon comes in and takes it. Very central location, about 40 out directly in front.
Jeez, you're very generous, Maisie, aren't you?
I think he overcooked it, didn't he?
That's not what we saw. Ben Brown was the man that was actually standing there unattended, and then the kick's gone over his head, even being 6'7" or 8" or whatever he is. when he puts his arm up, he's probably 7'4", but it's gone over his head, and Langdon read it well. So he was lucky because that was the old turnover city kick. So that gets turned over. It's going back down the other end for a scoring opportunity.
Langdon from 45 out, directly in front. It's one behind again. 3 in a row for the D's. 6-7-43, place 5-2-32. The margin 11 points after 12 minutes in the second quarter.
Beach, last few minutes of the opening quarter and now here, it just feels like a few dangerous moments for Brisbane just hanging in there.
It is just hanging in there, and it's just the goal kicking from Melbourne just letting them down. They said last three scores in a row, and they've been pretty good opportunities. So keeping the ball in the front half, getting the re-entries, setting up the ground really well. That's what we expect coming in.
Rich to Starcevic, marks the kick out, goes down the wing. Zorko keeps it alive, gives it to McCluggage, hand pass away to Cockatoo. Through traffic, kicks to half forward. Danaher goes down in front, he's outnumbered. And Petty takes the intercept mark. Back flank for Melbourne. D's by 11 points. Put your finger in the wind, just in control of the game. Haven't really been able to impact it on the scoreboard just yet. Matheson spoiled by his own teammate. Ball spills to McCluggage. Short kick marked by Lever. Has it on the back flank for the D's. Melbourne by 11. 14 played second quarter.
Fourth mark of the evening for Lever. Attacking kick too. Miss Jackson, who had it spoiled away from him. Now the lines are away. Matheson just kicks a long ball straight back to Lever. And pass immediately to May running past. And May goes out wide. Good mark taken by Langdon despite plenty of pressure late from Coleman. Just behind centre wing. He's looking for an option inboard. Nothing much presenting. He goes fairly central still with the kick. Inside the centre square. Jackson's able to mop up. Heard a voice out the back. Sparrow hand pass to Oliver, who had a fumble and then regained. Got to 55. Kicks to Pickett at the top of the square, who got out the back.
Clayton, the lasers.
How good was that touch? We probably
touch. What about Jackson's pickup? Strolls through as a ruckman.
Oh, he plays on Pickett on the left, curls it and goals. He's got 2. And the Demons have 7. Worrying times for the Lions. They're down by 17 points halfway through this second quarter.
17 points in. It's probably just concerning because of the last 10 minutes and the dominance from Melbourne. But aggressive kick. I think the kick before that went in the similar position from Melbourne's half-backs to Jackson, and then it's a really aggressive kick. I kind of like it, but in a way, I don't think they'll be doing it too often. But Jackson's ability just on ground level, he wasn't involved in that initial marking contest. It was McDonald, and then his follow-up there just on Adams, and then a bit of a lucky handball. But this from Clayton Oliver, where he finds it, and his last 2 kicks inside 50s have been to Jackson that was in the pocket. Great kick to advantage, and then that one to Keziah Pickett running back towards goal was a lace-out, perfect kick,
plus,
which is...
The other one. Not to mention the Ed Langdon one he set up.
There you go. Then one in the first quarter too, where he's laced out Ben Brown, and he's fluffed it.
He's having a night. Clayton Oliver, a big second quarter. Petrarca lifting 2, but it's Brisbane with the stoppage here. The stoppage clearance. Matheson chucks it on the boot, kicks deep to McInerney, who's been thrown forward. Petty spoils, tries to find the boundary line. McCluggage collects. Salem wraps him up, falls to McCartney. McCartney to Dacos effort from the pocket. I think it's going to come all the way back. We'll have a boundary throw in forward pocket here for Brisbane. So Melbourne by 17. Brisbane bending and not breaking at the moment. It's Melbourne's really inaccurate kicking that is keeping this a little prettier on the scoreboard. The D's with a big second term and all the momentum. Melbourne by 17. Deep forward for Brisbane. Jackson, who's starting to take over, wins it down. Sparrow out of the defensive arc, finds the chest of McDonald. Marks at half back. Melbourne back in possession, back in control.
Called to play on, goes beyond the wing. Great kick to the leading. Fritsch takes it on his chest, turns inboard, and then goes out wide with the kick. It was a bit too easy for Andrews, who was in front of Gawn. Big fist out of bounds. 60 around from the Melbourne goal. Oliver with 14 possessions, leads all other teammates. Petrarca with 11. Neil with 16 for the Lions, and Rich with 14.
6 in the quarter for Clary.
Toss back into play. Gawn won it down to the run of Viney. Hand pass was a good one too. Now the whistle went. Advantage was taken by Neil Bull, and he overkicked the ball, and the mark taken by Adams 20 metres out from his defensive goal square. So another golden opportunity gone missing there for the D's.
Melbourne by 17 played second quarter. Adams hands it to Birchall. To Harris Andrews, back pocket. Hemmed in at the moment, Brisbane, last line. Andrews told to go. Kicks long down the line, a helicopter out wide, and Max Gawn says, just have that out of bounds, whacks it away. The big heavy fist arriving late in the pack and a boundary throw-in.
It's always fascinated me that when the umpire calls play on the players outside the boundary they can still run 5 metres and then kick.
Absolutely agree.
Is there a reason why that is the case? Can someone text in?
I have no idea. For the boundary throw-in, Fullerton doing some ruck work down to Matheson. His kick smothered, ricochets into the path of Zach Bailey. Sockers up to the wing, taken by Lever of the Demons. Hand pass to Neil Bullen, kicks to centre half forward. McDonald went without it, Kazai Pickett down there, can't collect cleanly. Sparrow slips over trying to soccer. Starcevic collects, locked up by Spargo. Holding the ball. Gee, he took on the tackler. In Starcevic, according to the umpire, grabbed the foot, he started to walk forward and the Spargo tackle.
A reasonable time? Not within a reasonable time, Brendan, I didn't think. You're on the mark.
That's the explanation. Ray Chamberlain just
15 gone.
pinging Brandon Starcevic, and it means Charlie Spargo has a set shot at true centre half forward for Melbourne.
It was almost a perfect tackle where he pinned one arm and then he didn't dump him, so safety reasons, but he didn't really have an option and didn't have any prior opportunity.
So Spargo straight in front, 50 out, whacks it straight through. The D's have caught fire collectively. It's out to a new high water mark of 23 points Melbourne's way. The D's taking over at Adelaide Oval, 8-7-55, Brisbane 5-2-32. The question coming in, Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio, who would kick Melbourne's goals in finals? Well, at the moment, it's everyone. They've had 7 different goal kickers. 8-7, they lead Brisbane 5-2.
Well, we weren't stupid enough to ask that question, were we?
We knew.
Yep. But it started, well, we highlighted the fact that they were getting dominated and getting beaten in clearances, in particular centre square bounce clearances, which gets you ground position, and they've evened that up this quarter. They've won that and then set the game up from there, essentially. Got the ball in the forward half. Their pressure's been great there. That was obviously a free kick from a direct tackle and pressure, but I think Brisbane just don't look like they have any answers. That long kick method down the line, they can't seem to get a mark or any ground position from that or any ball movement from the back half. Defensively, Melbourne look really sound again behind the ball. They're allowing that +1, so maybe tactically they just got to change a few things up after half-time.
Clearance for Neil inside 50. Cameron couldn't gain possession. It dribbles out of bounds. 55 from the Brisbane goal.
Just to back you up there, Beach, Lever's had 11 touches. 9 of them have been intercepts.
Yeah.
They just can't get past him.
Ball to be tossed back into play. Critical stage here for the Lions. Thrown in, Jackson in the ruck. Down though, straight to Lyons, who kicks towards goal. It gets through Petty and through for one behind. Away to the left, 5-3-33, 8-7-55 the D's, 22 points the margin. We've played 21 minutes in this second term on Grandstand AFL.
Corbin Middlemass, Andrew Mays, Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio and Aaron Bryans tonight on Grandstand AFL. D's by 22. First qualifying final, the winner straight through to a prelim in the week off. The loser will play the winner of tomorrow's cutthroat final between the Dogs and the Dons. As Viney marks the kick out long down the wing. Melbourne win it back. As Harms lays it off by hand back to Viney. He's involved again, gives it to Oliver, kicks along the boundary line and a nice mark for Traka. He started to lift as well in his second term, had a big quarter, the All-Australian. Down to half forward, Petrarca. Brown strong, marking in front of Andrews. And Ben Brown clunks it, 60 out, wide at half forward, pulls it back to the corridor to Tom McDonald. Hitting up on the lead, perfect placement from Ben Brown. And Melbourne just heating up across the ground at the moment. Perfect team footy.
Again, the ball movement from the back half, they're able to find that uncontested chain. Yep. Brisbane, as we said, leading in, they're not great defensively. They're pretty sound, but it's not their strength of their game. And then Melbourne just really exposing them, particularly the midfielders. Petrarca there was on Neil. Airley's just so strong.
Tom McDonald moves in on the set shot, starts at left, leaves it there behind. Melbourne are 8-8. They've had a big term. Brisbane 5-3. Melbourne back up by 23 points, as wide as it's been. Time on second quarter.
Birchall short to the right back pocket. Mark taken by Rich. They've kicked 3 goals, 4 as well, so the damage could have been far worse as well. Rich, long kick. Danaher over the top, forced to spoil. Bowie had a fumble. Now a chance for Bailey. He stripped of it and then tried to hand pass it to Berry. Couldn't shrug the Harms tackle. Dangerous tackle.
Stand.
Free kick for Berry. He's okay. Gets straight to his feet. Melbourne are able to get numbers back behind this contest. Kick is in the middle of 4 demons. Could have taken your pick.
That's where they're struggling. So even the one prior, they literally can't create any uncontested possession and chain. They're forced to go long down the line, and Brisbane just can't win that. Essentially,
Rivers down to half forward, offhand, spills to Petrarca, through the stoppage, he kicks goalward but misses. Across the face, Petrarca with the behind, Melbourne 8-9, Brisbane 5-3, Beach.
Yeah, so it's somewhat of a win that they get it, and it gets it out of bounds. It's a re-stoppage, but it's still in Melbourne's forward half. So then Melbourne are able then, what they do is create that +1 with Gawn dropping back. So anything in the forward half for Melbourne is a massive win, and it's a loss for Brisbane. Because sometimes Leeds, getting the ball out of defence is really difficult. And just to get it out of bounds or a re-stoppage is essentially a win, but it's not against Melbourne. You actually got to get it further down the ground, progress into your forward half, and or win it, which they're not doing. No one's taking contested possession when the balls hit the ground. Melbourne are outnumbering, they're making smarter decisions. They're dominating this quarter, really. They potentially could be another 2 or 3 up.
Viney with a clearance as well. Kicks to the top of 50. Petrarca bursting through, lowers his eyes, has a shot towards goal and just nicks it in for 1 behind. Another behind in this second term. That's 6. Petrarca with the last couple. The margin 25 points in favour of the D's.
Gee, if he was a 20% better kick, he'd be the best player in the game, Christian Petrarca.
He leaves a lot on the table, doesn't he, with his kicking?
Wouldn't even be a debate. 25 points, Melbourne's lead. Couple of behinds for Petrarca. Melbourne now 8-10. They were 6-4, by the way, so that's 2-6 in their last 8 scoring shots. Neil marks the kick out. Hand pass to Birchall. Long kick down the wing. Gawn in front takes the contested mark. Max Gawn on the eastern wing. D's by 25 points. Dangerous moments for Brisbane. Down to half forward. Petrarca wants it again. Taps it to Sparrow's advantage. Into the path of Rivers. Links up with Oliver. Hand pass back inboard. Fritsch snapping. Fritsch goaling. The Demons are in rhythm. 31 points Melbourne's way. Time on in this second term. The D's are dominating the quarter. That's 4 goals to 1 in the term. Melbourne now by 31. 9-10-64, Brisbane 5-3-33 on Grandstand AFL. Brett Delidio, Brendan Goddard.
It'll be concerning with how many numbers were running forward then, Beach. We saw Petrarca, his ability just to create that contest, get the ball to ground. And there was just a wave of them coming through. Clayton Oliver arguably could have had a shot on goal himself, but unselfishly...
We can see it here.
Flicked it back on. So Petrarca against Birchall just gets it to ground. Sparrow handball over. Rivers running forward. Oliver unselfishly back inside. Not the cleanest handball, but Fritsch essentially all on his own just about, isn't he?
Again, it was just a bit unaccountability from Brisbane's. I think they're in strong positions expecting
more pressure,
but Melbourne have dumped that footy when they're not, and they've got so many... When you look down the ground there, Melbourne's midfielders were thereabouts, but they weren't there. You know what I mean? They weren't in their back pockets. Particularly, you have to be when the opposition have the ball in hand.
Clearance comes away of the Lions. Now Salem with a bit of work to do on his hands and knees. Tries to farm it out. He's gone over it. Lever taken to ground. Now that was half dangerous, if anything. Umpire says, I'll have it. Held to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake.
So when the ball's in dispute and it's on the ground, you can kind of hedge your bets and make decisions who you think's going to win it. But when the opposition have the ball, you as a midfielder, you've got to be, especially when your players right in playing in a dangerous position, you have to be in a position to apply pressure when he gets the ball.
Petrarca, long kick to the wing, turnover ball though, and then it slides off the boot of Salem. Yes, no. Almost out of bounds on the full. Umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt. It'll be a ball in, 60 around from the Lions' goal.
But it's pretty daunting for opposition teams. This is a convincing job that Melbourne done in the second quarter. And again, just setting up so well, outnumbering. They're full of confidence, mind you, but I don't think there's smart enough and good enough decisions being made from Brisbane and working hard enough, particularly away from stoppages.
Lions dragged off it from the stoppage. Salem hands it to Harms, kicks inside the centre square. Another heavy tackle spills Melbourne's way. Neil Bullen, he's got numbers alongside him. Melbourne streaming forward, goes wide to Ben Brown. They're all on the overlap. Brown holds it up and still hasn't kicked it. A slow play now for Melbourne, short and wide. Gee, they outnumbered Brisbane running downhill. The kick never came. Across the ground to Brayshaw. Angus Brayshaw deep into the pocket. Jackson down there, gone as well. Andrews with the fist. Whacks it into the fence and a throw in forward pocket for Melbourne.
Well, where that ended up is exactly where Brent Brown could have kicked it initially.
Just roll
and get it in. Luke Jackson 1v1.
Aaron Bryant's downstairs.
Some concerns for Grant Birchall here. He's got a right leg issue, getting checked out by the physios as he made his way off the bench, onto the bench.
Already having lost Dan McStay in the opening quarter as well, the Lions could not do with that. Now they win the clearance through Berry. High kick outside of defensive 50. Gaunt's fist went about 10 rows back. Strong defensive effort from the captain. He's got a bit of a scratch on his neck, but turned away quickly before the umpire could spot it with a bit of blood there.
When you're 33 years of age as well and played 286 games, you're only ever one sort of injury away from things turning pear-shaped, so fingers crossed that's not too serious.
Gawn almost grabbed it out of the ruck. Lions won it though. Kick towards the wing. High free kick paid. It's going the way of Bailey. So Bailey's on the logo. He goes inboard. It's good kick too to Rich, who can pull the trigger, goes straight up the middle and overcooks it. Straight to Lever. He's a magnet at the moment. Hand pass to Spargo. Hand pass out wide to Neil Bullen. And he now kicks. Mark taken out wide on that occasion by Sparrow. Sparrow just holds things up at right half back.
He's a sub 7 times across the year. Tom Sparrow now in the starting 22 at the right time of the year. Long kick down the line, jacks it up, and again Andrews spoiling over the boundary line between wing and half forward for the D's. Aaron Bryant's on the boundary.
Left knee, the concern for Grant Birchall, who's going through a jog at the moment, but he's in tremendous pain. The physios don't look confident, and neither does he.
Shocking news for Brisbane. McStay, suspected concussion in the opening term. And now Birchall hurt, half-hour mark, second quarter from the throw-in. Neil Bullen, as he's been tackled, hands it into the path to Petrarca. The star Melbourne midfielder floats a kick inside 50, straight onto the chest of Andrews. Takes the intercept mark. In defence, he goes short to Neil, the Brownlow medalist, marks at centre-half back for Brisbane.
He almost pulled the trigger to Bailey up the middle, opted against it though, short chip laterally, and he finds Rich. Still inside defensive 50 here, the Lions. They trail by 31 points. About 60 seconds left on the clock in this second quarter. That's a great kick by Rich. Out wide, Danaher on a long lead takes the mark forward of centre wing. Now he kicks towards the teeth of 50. Oh, losing it in flight was Salem. Allowed McCarthy to take the mark. Pokes the pass inside 50. Cameron took it at its highest point. High leap, high mark, and he'll have a shot for another. His fourth of the evening he'll be lining up for.
It's the first time they've been able to get the ball inside 50 with any fluency, isn't it? So it took somewhat of a scrubby kick and a
well-read one.
A well-read mark from Lincoln McCarthy, and then get the ball into this man, Cameron, who's had that dodgy matchup on.
Geez, they need it as well. Cameron hawking it around a little too much. One behind. He looks rather mystified as he sees that float through. 30 points the margin in favour of Melbourne.
It's changed since last time. It's changed since he left. He thought that's where it was going to be.
So that matchup with Smith on Cameron, which is a problem for Melbourne, but if they're able to get in there. But this quarter, as we know, they just haven't been able to get in there regularly enough with any fluency in space.
What a quarter from the Demons. A devastating second term in a high-stakes final. 4 goals to 1. And some space between them on the scoreboard. It's 30 points and feels like it could be much more. Half-time at Adelaide Oval in the first qualifying final. Melbourne 9-10-64. Brisbane hobbled as well. Injuries to McStay and Birchall. 5-4-34. The Demons by 30 at half-time. 7 goal kickers. Fritsch and Pickett both have 2. 1 for Spargo, Oliver, Langdon, Sparrow and Ben Brown. While for Brisbane, Charlie Cameron has 3. 1 for Berry, 1 for Bailey. Aaron Bryants is on the boundary. Aaron, any update on Grant Birchall, who hobbled off towards the latter stages of that second term?
he was taken down to the rooms in the final few minutes there. So concerns for him. Obviously, he's still be able to move around at the moment, but just looked in a lot of pain as he tried to test it out. The physio's not too confident either, and just really hobbling when he made his way to the bench. So he's got a bit of time to work with in the major break, and Brisbane will be hoping he can get back out there because, yeah, there'll be a man down if he can't.
As Aaron told us, a knee complaint for Birchall. They already lost McStay earlier. Suspected concussion in the opening 10 minutes. Brisbane were actually leading in the game at that stage when he went down, and from that point on, it's been 7-3 Melbourne's way. D's by 30 points at half-time. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio with you on Grandstand AFL. Impressions of that opening half of footy, lads?
We might mention the first quarter, just that Melbourne, what they were doing and how they did it, they looked sound. It looked more convincing for mine. The score was only a kick in it in favour of Melbourne at quarter time, but just the way it was happening, it just looked more sustainable. And I think it just highlighted, or one of the areas we highlighted at quarter time was just clearance work, centre square bounce in particular, and they dominated that. It was 12-8 at one stage. It finished. What have we got there, Lids?
Oh, this is just the second quarter.
Yeah, 12-8 that quarter. So got ground position from that, and then what they did so well is whenever Brisbane did win the ball, they just force them into slow play and then force them to kick long down the line. And we know how good they are by foot, even with Birchall, Rich as those high half-backs and such good ball users through the midfield, that they just couldn't get any uncontested chains and possessions to get ground position, because from those possessions they had in the back half, it was the kick long down the line. Melbourne set up really well ahead of it. They get it out of bounds or they get a stoppage. It doesn't progress from there. No one in Brisbane's team have taken contested marker when the ball hits the ground. They're not
6-zip in that quarter.
Yeah, they're not cleaning it up or being able to get possession from that long kick. And then if there's another stoppage or it gets out of bounds, Melbourne are still in their front half, and then they set up, as we keep alluding to, set up so well behind the ball that if the Brisbane do win it, then it's been turned over, which, again, you highlighted Lever's impact.
Mate, he's gone
in that quarter, or for the first half, and in particular that quarter was through the roof.
5 touches, all of them intercepts.
All intercept possessions, which we saw Lear last night have 5 in the first quarter, I think, and was on track to break a record. So just allowing that happens, as we highlighted again pre-game, is that they need to show the respect to Oliver and in particular Lever in the back half, and those two, they're best on ground at the minute.
And Petrarca's arguably got his hat in the ring as well a little bit there.
They're getting beaten by things and individuals that we all knew that could be the difference.
Yep.
So that would be the most concerning thing, because they would have had, let's not put our head in the sand, they would have had a plan for both those guys and Petrarca as well. And
what's the old saying about don't get beaten by what you know?
No, that's it. That's what I was looking for.
It doesn't help when McStay's on the bench, and obviously he would have played a part in that Lever one.
Yep.
We think. We don't know, but it's almost a given.
Again, Lever plays that high one, as I said, that drops off those, because he tends to play. What we've seen from Lever in the past, remember when he first left Adelaide and went to Melbourne, he was asked to play as a key defender.
He wasn't.
And there was a number of said he's not a key defender, because his strengths are that he reads the ball so well, great intercept marker, third man in.
Yeah, so he needs that other key, or there's other two keys.
Yeah, so then what they did is they probably had a plan to do this and help him. That probably wasn't the long-term plan, but he was forced to play that role and got exposed a fair bit. But then May comes in now.
And Tomlinson went back as well early in the year with Petty.
Allows Lever to play this. So this is an orchestrated role. So to get up the ground, play on the small, because he's a tall, but play on the smalls, sag off them, play on the, I don't mean any disrespect to anyone, but play on the dumb forward. There's always generally one in the team. Play on him, sag off him when he runs the dumb spots, read the play, you read the play better. And he's doing that so well.
Yep.
And there's just not enough respect shown to him, or arguably they don't have the player to play that role and hold him accountable.
Who is it? Who could it be that could go and play? Because I don't think it's, if you go through them, I think McCarthy's maybe not big enough. He attracts it pretty good overhead, but not quite big enough. Cockatoo's the perfect size, but I wonder whether he's got the
footy
smarts,
IQ.
The footy IQ. He's missed a lot of footy. Can he go then and be that hit up forward that can make him accountable? So, I don't know. Look, it's an interesting question. They can't get past him, so they've got to try something different, or they've got to kick it along the ground.
Who dubbed it dirty ball? Is it dirty ball?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the answer, but what he relies on obviously is what is also great, which we're selling short, is the pressure around the ball for Melbourne's great. So particularly from their midfielders and those high half forwards that come up. Neil Bullen, great first half playing as a high half forward, arguably the hardest position to play consistently well on the ground. Doing a tremendous job. Viney, Oliver. And then concerning for me, and we highlight again in one of those chains of possession, but the thing we're seeing is Brisbane's then ability to run the other way, and their midfielders in particular. I said they're thereabouts, but when Melbourne win the ball, rule of thumb, you get goal side of your opponent and your midfielder, which plants the seed of doubt. You know, as a player, you get goal side. It's like, oh, where do I run here? I don't have clean air.
I've got to go test him. No, I'll save myself for the next one.
Yeah, save myself. So they're not working hard enough, early enough, and then making smart enough decisions. So that quarter was so convincing, and they are. What was the shots? They were 5 goals at half time, but
kicked 4 goals, 6. So
4-6.
It could have been game over.
They're all proper ones too. So that was an absolute belting and so convincing from Melbourne.
Anything further, Lids?
No, I think it'll be interesting to see how Brisbane respond, given they've lost McStay already. Question marks over Birchall. He didn't look convincing on the boundary, and so it'll be interesting to see what they can manufacture here. Or do you just sort of say, we just need a bit more effort? And usually, I think they're going to have to change a bit. It's not just going to be effort, is it? Because there's no doubt they've gone out there and they're trying, but it's Melbourne's system, and this is why I've been bullish. Beej is bullish on why they are. Things are different, and we spoke about this at the top of the show. That they were
because it just looks the same all the time. Doesn't matter who they play, where they play, whatever. What the opposition are trying to do to them, it just looks the same.
Quick answers here, Lids off the SMS. Hey chaps, appreciate the always spot on call. I'd like your opinion on Ben Brown at North Melbourne versus Ben Brown at Melbourne. What's changed? Because it seems like it's been drastic.
No, drastic in a sense he's kicking less goals, but he's playing more of a team role, playing in a better team.
Yep.
So less is asked from him.
So what's like Lynch at Gold Coast v Richmond. So the focal point at the Gold Coast, not when you come to Richmond, you do your job as Dimmer's gone in the bat for him, create the contest. Ben Brown's doing exactly that. Gives a starting point for a lot of other players.
He'll get off the chain occasionally and kick his 4 or 5, but generally you just play your role. You
kick 1 or 2.
Do what we ask if you're going to play every week.
Carl from Bendigo off the SMS. Do you reckon Melbourne has what it takes to win the ultimate prize?
Yes.
Short answers?
Yes.
Yep, both our lads are pretty optimistic on Melbourne. And Brett, disgraceful quarter by the Lions, absolutely putrid decision-making. So not overly happy with that. And Bill says, have Brisbane brought finals intensity footy tonight to test Melbourne? So how much of it is bad Brisbane compared to good Melbourne?
You go.
Yeah, I thought the seed was planted by good Melbourne first.
Yeah. And then decisions get made and exploited more on the back of that. You can see they're not quite as sharp, leaving stoppage, decisions around stoppage, and then their ability to use the footy going forward.
All right, it's half-time in the first qualifying final. Melbourne by 30 points. It did get as wide as 31. Injury concerns for Brisbane as well. McStay subbed out with suspected concussion and a knee complaint for Grant Birchall right on the stroke of half-time. An update from the Paralympics coming up shortly, but first, what's happening in the ABC newsroom?
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. There's been another COVID-related death connected to a hospital cluster in Western Sydney. There were 1,035 locally acquired cases in New South Wales in the latest reporting period, a new daily record for the state and the country. New South Wales Health says one of the 2 people who died from coronavirus in the latest reporting period was fully vaccinated. Victoria's recorded 64 new locally acquired COVID-19 cases, with 36 of those in quarantine during their infectious period. Contact tracers have linked 49 to existing outbreaks. Victoria processed more than 55,000 test results and 35,753 vaccine doses were administered at state-run clinics. The Australian Medical Association says it's important people who suffer serious adverse effects due to COVID-19 vaccines be compensated appropriately. A no-fault compensation scheme will begin operating next month, allowing people who suffer adverse effects access to government funds. Doctors' groups had been calling for the scheme for some time, particularly to protect healthcare workers from legal action. And the New South Wales Swifts had won this year's Super Netball title, defeating the Giants 63-59 in Brisbane. The Swifts led the match at quarter time and didn't surrender their buffer at one stage, leading the decider by double digits. Goal shooter Sam Wallace scored 48 goals, while defender Matty Turner was named best on court. ABC News.
when history is made.
Over the boundary it goes, and New Zealand are the World Test champions.
ABC Sport is there.
Olam away from one, gets it away to Willow Power. Now I've seen it. Now I've seen a six-bar. Josh Allen powers it again.
Commercial free.
Bolton! Oh, wow. Off he goes! A hanger in the goal square.
ABC Sport. On radio, online, and on the ABC Listen app.
The 2021 AFL Final Series.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Jackson will fly, one grab, not the second, might have had an arm chop though. Umpire says play on advantage. Oliver Swoop kicked inside 50 and Fridge running back with a flight takes it on his chest for his first of the evening. Fridge, dead eye, straight through the middle. Coleman at ground level, jams it on the boot, works it up okay to Fullerton, and Fullerton is a man all alone at centre half forward. Berry going back with a flight takes it, look to draw the opponent. Oliver's taking a step on the mark and he's going to be marched to 5 metres out. From the top of the square, goal! Inside the centre square, Jackson's able to mop up, Hurteboyce out the back, Sparrow hand pass to Oliver, who had a fumble and then regained, got to 55, kicks to Pickett at the top of the square who got out the back. Oh, he placed on Pickett on the left, curls it and goals.
Taken by Lever of the Demons, hand pass to Neil Bullen, kicks to centre half forward. McDonald went without it, Kazai Pickett down there, can't collect cleanly. Sparrow slips over trying to soccer. Starcevic collects, locked up by Spargo. Holding the ball. So Spargo straight in front, 50 out, whacks it straight through. Dangerous moments for Brisbane, down to half forward. Petrarca wants it again, taps it to Sparrow's advantage, into the path to Rivers, links up with Oliver, hand pass back inboard, Fridge snapping, Fridge goaling, the Demons are in rhythm.
The 2021 AFL Finals Series on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
30 points at halftime, Melbourne's way in the first qualifying final. The winner goes straight through to a preliminary final. The loser will face the winner of tomorrow's elimination final between the Western Bulldogs and Essendon. Let's see what's happening at the Paralympics. Ned Hall across all of it for us out of Tokyo. Ned.
Corby, 6 more medals for Australia through the course of this evening. Gold medals are proving elusive at the moment. They've just landed another silver, this time coming in the mixed 4x100 metre individual medley. That is added to the silver medal won by Ahmed Kelly in the 150 metre individual medley. He got the silver ahead of his compatriot Grant Patterson, the two very good mates, but beaten by Mexico, who won their first Paralympic gold medal in the pool. Hernandez touched home first there. A silver too for Rowan Crowthers, who won the gold medal in the 50 metre freestyle, taking out the silver in the 100 metre free ahead of Thomas Gallagher, who came in 5th place. And Matthew Levy picked up the bronze medal in the 100 metre breaststroke as well. On the athletics track, there's more competitors still to come, but Evan O'Hanlon has taken out the bronze medal there. He actually posted the same time as the Chinese athlete who got the silver medal, but was 0.003 of a second behind him. So ending up with the bronze medal in the end. If there'd been 2 more metres in the race, no question he would have taken out the silver medal there. That's added to the silver that Jared Clifford won a long time ago, early this morning, in the men's 5,000 metres. And still to come tonight, Rhiannon Clark and Ella Pardee are both running in the women's 100 metres T38 class as well. Dylan Alcott has just taken to the court in the men's singles tennis. He's already a break-up in the opening set against Mitsutara Moraishi of Japan. And in the wheelchair rugby, Australia has gone down to the USA in the semi-finals. They'll play off against Japan tomorrow for the bronze medal. Final score today, 49-42 in favour of the United States. In the basketball earlier, it was a win for the Rollers, this time against Germany. Pushed a little harder today than they have been in previous matches. They won those 64-53, and later tonight, the Gliders, the women's team, will be taking on Great Britain. And 2 comfortable wins in the Bocce today as well. David Michel beat his Thai opponent 9-love, and Spencer Coty beat his Argentine opponent by 4 games to 1. And in the rowing, Eric Horry through to the A final in the men's single sculls. The mixed coxed fours also through to the A final after they won their repechage race there as well. And finally, a win for Australia in the goalball. The Aussie Bells beating Canada 4-3 to bounce back from their defeat to China by 6-0 yesterday. And that is the latest from Tokyo.
Thanks, Ned. All the latest from the Paras. Good to see more success for our Aussie Paralympic team over in Tokyo. And that'll keep you up to date throughout the games. It's half-time in the first qualifying final at Adelaide Oval. Melbourne by 30 points. Did have 2 lead changes in the opening term. And Melbourne just steadily stamping their authority on this fixture. 9-10-64 over Brisbane, 5-4-34. Earlier today, Brett Delidio, Brendan Goddard, Andrew Mays, myself, Corbin Middlemass, and Aaron Bryans is on the boundary at Adelaide Oval. And we saw the Giants winners by a point over the Sydney Swans. Swans roared home, weren't able to reel in the deficit, and as a result fell 1 point short. But Toby Green's going to be the talking point all week after he seemingly made contact with umpire Matt Stevic.
Seemingly.
We spoke about it pre-game. You've both seen the replays slowed down. I'm sure we'll see it 140 more times between now and next Friday night. What's your take on what happened with Toby Green and umpire Stevic at three-quarter time?
Well, from watching, we've seen a really slowed down version as well. That looks like both Toby and Matty Stevic turn their shoulders. And you don't see any reaction from Matty Stevic, nothing untoward. He doesn't look like he's upset by what's happened. And it's rolled on the footage. You can actually see that Matty comes back and starts talking to Toby, and they discuss what they were going on. And I can lip read Toby, and I understand because he had a free kick paid a reversal against him for pushing McInerney, Justin McInerney, is it? I think from the Swans. Pushed him over after a free kick that he got. And he's just like, mate, he's diving. And that's when they've sort of gone past each other. But they've gone back, spoken. I can't see. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that there wasn't anything in it.
So if the footage is inconclusive, then it obviously then comes down to
what Matty Stevic says.
The two parties involved.
So if it goes back to old school tribunal where you ring up and say, help me out. And you're like, yeah, no worries, mate. No, it didn't touch me. So the your black eye.
The club.
The medical report from the doctor, from the umps.
But in this instance, you imagine GWS calling the AFL, essentially, the AFL umpires department, be Dan Richardson getting a phone call.
Yeah, but Jace McCartney hasn't got a great track record, as he gave him a spray in Canberra, wasn't it? I think he charged in there, so
I mean, this is what happens, though, is that we see the incident, all of us have the same knee-jerk reaction. As soon as we saw it, that's not what we want in the game.
Yes.
And then we know what's at stake. It's Toby Green. We slow the vision down. Did he actually make contact? Did he not? I don't know how the AFL give that a pass, how they honestly look at that and say, yep, we're happy with that. So if you walk past an umpire and you turn your shoulder late and you don't quite make contact, but it looks like you're going to rub shoulders with the umpire, is that something we want the game to say, yep, that's okay, that's a pass?
No, well, it's not.
It's not.
No. Because if Matty Stevic doesn't move, then there's
contact.
There's clear contact,
They both
mate.
sort of go a little bit, though. Like I don't think it looks worse than it is, but Scotty Pendlebury tweeted after it and said Lachie Neale only got a fine for his, and it looked far more aggressive.
He was tough. He was letting the umpire know that he was bleeding, I think. Yeah,
he touched the umpire just the same, so I don't know.
I know what footy fans want, and they want Toby Green to play a next Friday night semi-final. Aaron Bryans is on the boundary as...
Corby, good news for Lions fans. Grant Birchall has made his way and will start this third quarter. So they have a full bench at the moment. Still, Reece Matheson has been subbed into the game for Dan McStay. But regardless, I think they'll be happy that they've got a full squad out there for the second half.
Quick takes before the start of the second half. What would Chris Fagan say at halftime? How did Brisbane get themselves back in the game?
Oh, again, it's around clearances,
spread from stoppage,
and then just, I think, representation and structure when they're in slow, long kick method, when that ball gets kicked long down the line, what they're doing in that role. Their talls, where are they? And then their mids and their smalls up around that contest, what it looks like, because they're getting beaten there, but the game's on Melbourne's terms through their clearance work.
Melbourne by 5 goals neat. Second half upon us. On Grandstand AFL, you're with Andrew Mays, the winner, straight through to a prelim.
Gawn in the ruck, grabs it out this time. His kick went nowhere though. Neale, a hand pass straight to Oliver, who collided with May coming the other way. Danaher swooped and he was done for holding the ball. Incorrect disposal, as you heard. Gawn with a strong tackle. Kicks out wide outside the centre square. It's okay to Salem, who takes it on his chest. Salem just puts it up in the air. Nice kick into space to allow Neil Bullen to run onto it. He's 2 kicks from goal, Neil Bullen. This is more of the same already from the first half. Kicks inside 50. McInerney with a big fist. Roving that nicely was Zorko. Almost driven into the ground. Strong tackle by Harms. Going nowhere. A stoppage at the top of 50.
Melbourne haven't lost this year when leading at half-time. 14th game this year, they've led at the long break, protecting a 30-point buffer. Gone down to Harms. Wrapped up straight away in a heavy tackle. So ball up half forward for Melbourne.
Thank you. Just watch these two, please.
Umpire Chamberlain tosses it in the air. McInerney hooks it down behind to Harms. He's drilled in a heavy tackle from Rich. The umpire says dangerous tackle. Driven into the turf, and James Harms will get the free.
He was sucked into that by the last bit when he's saying, can you watch these two, please? We heard it over the mic.
60 out. Harms just lays it up top of the goal square. Brown out to meet it. Benny Brown marks overhead. And Brown will have a shot from 15 out, just left of centre.
I know Harris Andrews is very athletic, but right here they're both, mind you.
Gardner hasn't helped him out.
Darcy Gardner's just standing there ball watching, so both of them haven't got direct contact. They're in really good positions at the start, but then when that ball comes in and the Melbourne forwards get on the move, you've got to get a bit of body contact, not allow them to run and jump at it.
He was out of the team at the start of the year as the new recruit, having the moment of his career right now, Ben Brown, as he hits the post. There's a big build-up. It's just a behind. Another poster. D's by 31 points, 2 played, third term.
Rich marks the kick in, then turns it over straight onto the chest of Petty, and he can load up to go back inside 50 for the D's. Petty with almost every player in front of him on the park, puts it into the forward pocket. Brown again over the top, punched away from him and out for a boundary throw in 30 from the D's goal. A couple of repeat inside 50s already in this third quarter. More of the same from what we saw in the second. More inaccurate kicking though for Melbourne. They'll want to take their chances and bury this one. The lead 31 points at the moment. Toss back into play. McDonald and McInerney. Ricochets off both of them. Starcevic had a fumble. Oliver didn't. Hand pass to Neil Bullen, who sliced his way through traffic. Hooks towards goal away to the left. Another behind. 9 goals, 12 now for the Demons. 5 goals, 4 for the Lions. 32 points the margin.
So Birchall back on the ground, as Aaron told us after that knee concern. Kicks to Andrews in a one-on-one. No mark. Spills down to McCluggage. 3 times now an All-Australian nom. He kicks into the middle of the ground for Brisbane. McCartney to target. Petty spoils. Down to Salem. D's win it back. Hand pass back to Lever across the half-back line. And Brayshaw in the customary headgear marks defensive side of the wing.
Brayshaw to right half forward. A little too wide for Oliver, who slides into a cameraman. Takes him out and his plastic chair underneath. Out of bounds on the full. Free kick going the way of Lions, who pokes it short to Neil. Neil short again inboard this time. Mark taken by Zorko. Back to Lions by hand immediately, who runs through centre wing. Kicks long inside 50. Cameron matched up against 2. Smith spoiled at ground level. Gawn. Smith over the top. Pulls it back in. He's got to try and get rid of this. Brisbane finally get a hand on it. Berry, hand passed out. Then Lever, he was tackled. Robinson, hand pass to Danaher. Danaher to the top of the square. Cameron's got about 3 to beat. He leaps over the top. This was okay. McCluggage had a shot and his kick was smothered. Coming through Salem. Couple of fumbles and finally gets some sort of a hand pass away to Brayshaw. Short pass, overcooks it. A free kick in that marking contest. And it goes the way of Oliver, who might have copped a knee in the back as well, slow to get to his feet.
Took a sore knee into the back. It was Birchall, who then walked off hobbling. So he's back on the ground, as we know, but he looks like he's struggling just a little bit. Oh yeah.
It's right in the kidney. Gee, that'd hurt. Played every game for the last 5 years, Clayton Oliver. Hell of a record. Had his best year yet as he goes long down the wing. Gawn in the pack. Offhand spills to Brown. Can't collect. Andrews taps it out to Robinson, dispossessed in the tackle. Still no clean possession. Zorko for the Lions. Hands it back into dispute. Neil away to McInerney to Zorko. Took on his opposing captain. Went without it. Gawn taps it to the advantage of Viney. Sockers it straight into his teammate. Spills down to Harms. Kicks inside 50 for the D's. Adams puts his head over it. Tackled immediately by Brown. Somehow got boot the ball to centre half back. Birchall's locked up. And a ball up centre half forward for Melbourne. D's by 32 points, a new game high, 6 played, third term.
Tossed up, McInerney got separation from McDonald, so he grabbed it out of the ruck, kicked it towards centre wing to his opposing ruckman in Gawn. Knocked forward by the Lions, now a chance for Lever. Turned it over by hand to McCarthy, who took off. Hand pass over the top is okay to Fullerton, no bounces away from him at the last moment. Salem to Bowles, who was backtracking. Bailey got him cold and told him all about it as well. Free kick inside 50, almost plays on. He's not on his angle, he'll be brought towards the boundary line. He's 45 metres out, this would take his absolute best.
Young Bowie there obviously hasn't done his research. This guy's pretty quick and powerful and a good tackler. Just ask Mark Blitzarves, although that wasn't paid, that one.
Well, this one was, and he's got a chance to kick a crucial goal from 48. It slides across the face. Gawn sees it over for one behind. 5-5-35. 9-12-66 the D's. The Lions trailing by 31 points.
Just recapping, Dan McStay subbed out in the first 10 minutes. Suspected concussion. So Matheson into the game. James Jordan, the unused medical sub for Melbourne. Salem on the kick out, up to the wing. Brown competes, Andrew spoils. Down to Zorko, Sockers inside the forward 50. McInerney can't collect, spills to McCluggage. His kick smothered by Oliver off his knees. Scooped up into the path of Zorko, who shoots goalward and kicks it. The free kick's going against Brisbane. It's against McCluggage.
Come around, please.
Trying to whack it out off his knees. He got his hand underneath it and was deemed a throw, so Viney will get the free. Half back for Melbourne. D's by 31 points, 8 played, third quarter.
He's marched behind his mark, then kicks low. Good mark taken by Gawn. Contested situation, rose high and strong to bring it to ground. Gawn at left half back. Melbourne's last 6 scoring shots, 1 goal 5, so they could be a lot further in front. He kicks towards Pickett, who got a leap at it. Petrarca rode nicely, hand pass to Neil Bullen, to Brown at the top of 50, kicks inside 50, Brayshaw, contest in the air, got rid of Robinson, then went to collect it at ground level, farmed it out the back. Coleman there for the Lions. He's too quick, gets away from a couple, was looking for the 1-2 with Robinson, who didn't give it back to him, then kicked outside of defensive 50, ball bounced away from the contest. Danaher, he's bumped off it by Gawn, allowed McInerney though just to soccer forward, out the back Cameron again, he gets a couple of metres on Smith, paddles it towards himself once and twice, he's into the forward pocket, loses his footing. D's with numbers. Salem, kick is good too. He's able to find May at left half back.
Goes short to Langdon, takes it on the hop, plays on, hits up Ben Brown, who's been good tonight. Logo eastern wing, turns and kicks down to track and a one-on-one with Adams. Adams is up and whacks it out of play. Throw in 60 out from Melbourne's goal.
He'd be so flat with that, he had a couple of yards.
Just wouldn't sit, would it?
It just wouldn't sit up for him. So he's forced to bend down. And then he made up that ground when he's tried to bend down to pick on the ball. Gathers that, he runs into another open goal.
You want to watch something funny? Watch 3 200+ centimetre blokes try and pick the ball up off the deck.
2 giraffes.
For the boundary throw in, Gawn hooks it back into the corridor. Zorko coughs it up. May, hand pass out to Viney. His hand pass a turnover as well. This is Jared Lyons. Away towards Neil. Gives it to McCluggage. Breaks the Oliver tackle. Up over halfway, Brisbane. Links up with Zorko. Kicks to right half forward. Cameron got there on the bounce. Hand pass to Bailey. Floats a kick inside 50. McCarthy chases. Bowie with a nice little bump. Wins the footy. Half-back flank for Melbourne.
He was strong in that contest. Hand pass away to Salem. Good kick to Langdon. Left half-back takes the mark. Despite some late pressure from Zorko, thought it might have been touched. Langdon happy to settle things down for the D's. They lead by 31 points. We've played almost 10 minutes in this third quarter on Grandstand AFL. He goes for a run, Langdon, inboard, then a kick. Gawn the target, knocked away from him. Rich had a fumble. Now Harms. Hand pass to Neil Bullen. Hand pass to Oliver, who hits the ground running. Spent it before he had it. Dropped it, but had time to regather. Got around McInerney. Hand pass to Viney. Viney pokes the pass inside. 50, Fritsch over the top. Good leap, no mark. At ground level. And just kicked out of there by Pryor. He gains about 40 metres towards the boundary line. Be interesting if this goes out. Lever was shoved off it in a tight 1-on-1 with Cockatoo. And then he was taken high by McCarthy. And he wins the free kick, Lever. He has been a brick wall in defence for the D's tonight.
The umpire missed one there. Cockatoo just dropped the ball on the deck. Could have been a 50 as well.
It's Jackson Pryor's first kick of the night and his first final. 20-year-old. This is a lever to put it back inside 50 for Melbourne. Brown a running start again. No mark, and Adams happy to tap it out of play. So the boundary throw in right on the 50 for the D's.
Oscar.
Haven't had a goal yet. 11 minutes into the third term. Same stage of quarter number one, we've had 4.
It was obviously good for Melbourne with a 31-point lead.
Haven't had a heap of rain either after heavy rain throughout the afternoon in Adelaide. Free kick, Neil pushed in the back after disposing of the footy. And the Brownlow medalist will get it left half back for the Lions. Demons by 31.
Neil kicks it very wide, too wide over the head of Lions, out of bounds on the full. Brayshaw with the free kick. In front of the interchange benches by the time he kicks, runs inboard. Kicks to the top of 50. Oliver high, no mark. Petrarca bursts through. Just got his hand pass away. Turns it over though. Neil, short kick is okay to Danaher. Goes immediately by hand to McCluggage. Now the next step in the chain is okay. It's Pryor who's drifted forward of halfway. He takes the mark and holds things up, waiting for his Lions teammates to get forward.
Second generation AFL footballer. His father Michael, of course, playing for West Coast and Essendon. He kicks it inside 50. Petty climbs, can't mark, spills to Cockatoo. Hand pass to Matheson. Shanks his snap. Hit the fat part of the footy. It floats out of bounds on the bounce, and not a bad result in the end for Brisbane. They'll get a throw in right forward pocket.
Again, just Melbourne's ability to slow Brisbane up. They got the uncontested chain. Pryor just then was forced to go back off the mark, and then it became a really slow play where Melbourne got numbers and actually had a +1 naturally behind the ball, who was Petey, I think, that dropped the mark.
For the boundary throw in, Jackson wins it down. Neil through traffic trying to squeeze a kick out. Oh, Jackson bowled over by Matheson. Spills to McInerney. He snaps goalward. Kicks it out of bounds. Again on the bounce next to the behind post. So another throw in deep forward for Brisbane. 21 scoring shots to 10. Melbourne by 31 points. 13 played third term.
They've only had 3 behinds collectively in this third quarter. From the stoppage, McCluggage dispossessed, picked up by Langdon, looped the hand pass over the top to Neil Bullen, kick out wide, Gawn the target, slipped through his hands, out the back, Andrews had Pickett for company, so the boundary line became his friend, happy to see it over. Halfway through this third term, Melbourne have kicked 2 behinds in this third quarter, 1 behind for the Brisbane Lions. The margin was 30 points at half time, it's now 31. Toss back into play. Jackson, run it down again. Harms, McCluggage in there. Ball trapped underneath him over the top. Neil Bullen, that's going nowhere. A ball up on centre wing.
Melbourne's third quarter's their strength this year. They've only lost 4 of them. It's Brisbane's worst performing quarter across the regular season at the moment. We haven't had a goal, as Maisie touched on, through 14 minutes. From the stoppage, Melbourne win it. Langdon, hand pass away to Salem, links up with Harms on the 1-2. Salem, ugly kick along the line, sat in the air, and Andrews kills it. Punches it out of play in front of Gawn, so a throw in just forward of the wing for the D's.
It's not often you see Gawn resting forward, is it?
He usually goes back the other way, doesn't he?
Yeah. Or off the ground when he's not in the ruck, so it's obviously Jackson now that's playing as that ruckman, and then Gawn's playing the Jackson role that he plays when Gawn's in the ruck.
D's protecting a 31-point lead from the boundary throw-in. The Sparrow coughed it up, became tackler, hurried kick going forward from the Lions. Hands on it from McCarthy, spills the mark. Leave it at Bowie. He's mowed down, tackled from Danaher. Brisbane win it back.
Umpire said play on. They maintain possession though, the Lions. Pryor inside 50. Spore came from Smith, but Charlie's out the back again. He can turn, snap towards goal. He's got 4. And he keeps the Lions alive. 25 points the margin now. 15 minutes played. Third quarter on Grandstand AFL. Finally, we have a goal in this third term.
Well, it's that matchup, isn't it, Lids? Every time he literally is going near the ball, when they're able to get it in there, they've obviously been a lot better this quarter in their ability to get inside 50s, albeit they're really slow. But once they get isolation with Cameron and Smith, it's like Smith is just...
He's had 3 or 4 metres every time, hasn't he? And you look down the list, though, and who could you hand no other answer? Is he going to send Cosy Pickett down there to plant him speed for speed? I don't think so. But
so it's just now or he's just relying on Brisbane just to get dominate that clearance to be able to, and a bit of fluency in their ball movement, just to be able to get the ball into him when he is isolated, because it looks like he is playing a little bit deeper now, but if they're able to get into him, he literally could be the difference.
Melbourne by 25 points. Back in the middle, Oliver, as he's been tackled, threads a hand pass on to Viney, links up with Bowie. Bowie kicks towards the pocket. Jackson, the target, tried to spoil, spills down towards Andrews. Hand pass away to Robinson, back to Andrews, and it's out of play. So a throw in right half forward for Melbourne. Game in just taking some time out of the game, really, here. Melbourne in this third term, 16 minutes travel. Just the 1 goal in the quarter. And a bit of brilliance from Charlie Cameron. D's dominating the second term. Gawn palms it down into the path to Sparrow. Hand pass into the path to Viney. He's bowled over. Robinson collects off his knees. Hand pass to Jared Lyons, away to Matheson. Plenty of hang time and he's kicked down to half forward. Bowie spoils. Here's Lever, puts his head over it. Tackled. Ball held in. Umpire circles. Ball up. They wanted a free kick there, Brisbane. They're not going to get it. And a stoppage half forward for the Lions.
Max, Oscar.
McInerney and Gawn, as you heard the umpire there. Palms it down, Gawn to Oliver. Oliver, his kick went nowhere. Fantastic smother by Rivers. Now a chance again for the Lions. McInerney in there. Oliver bounces off him. He hand passes to Brayshaw. Brayshaw looping hand pass over the top is good to Pickett, and he was absolutely decked by Matheson there. That was quite ugly, I fear. We'll wait for the replay on that one. The kick came up towards half forward and knocked out of bounds. Geez, that was awkward. Be interested to see that. Pickett lightning hand pass and late swinging arm. A little weird from Matheson. Ball to be tossed back into play. Pickett's up and okay. Gawn down to Viney. Matheson into the back of Viney. Ensures he's going absolutely nowhere. Slides inside 50 for a ball up.
Oscar, Max. There, please.
Up it goes. Both rucks share it. Here's Oliver. Threw it out. Free kick for Lions.
Back on stand.
And Jared Lyons will go short to Robinson. Centre half back for Brisbane. So for all their work, the Lions in this quarter, it's 1-1 to 2 behinds in the term, which is now 18 and a half minutes old as Robinson goes back to Starcevic. Short kick to Gardner. Missed last year's prelim with a knee injury picked up in training. Lays it off by hand, back to Starcevic. Kicks down the wing. Here's McCluggage. Marks logo, Eastern wing. 25 points, Melbourne's lead. Approaching time on in the third. Great kick. Finds Coleman. Slow build up from Brisbane. Effective so far. Kadeen Coleman outside 50. Pokes it inside the arc. Berry drifting forward. Marks. Looks to straighten up. Genuflecting to take the mark. McCluggage. Right half forward, so he'll shoot 45 out.
It's the first time we've probably seen Melbourne be a little bit sloppy in their defence, hasn't it? They just picked their way through that quite comfortably. Then the Lions wasn't quick, and wasn't risky at all, just nice and measured all the way down the field, but then to allow that chip inside, a nice easy set shot, a little concerning.
We know this guy can be a bit shaky on the set shot. Hugh McCluggage moves in, threads it. Not tonight. Brisbane still beating strong in this game. As we tick in the time on in the third, Melbourne's lead cut to 19 points. The Lions move to 7-5-47. Melbourne 9-12-66, still without a goal in the quarter. Demons by 19. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio.
Well, fair to say these last 6 minutes is pretty important just for Melbourne. I think the momentum's with Brisbane. They're obviously hitting the scoreboard, but even prior to that, they just looked a lot more dangerous. Their inside 50s were a lot better. They've got a bit more uncontested ball than they have in those first two quarters. So they just need to get a bit more ground position, get a re-entry. They do need to score a goal. That would help, obviously. But if Brisbane were able just to get one, maybe even two, we've still got 6 minutes. So here before that three-quarter time break, it's going to be huge for momentum leading to that last quarter and potentially just have Melbourne just a little bit shaky.
Gawn tries to win the clearance. He's tackled off it. Oliver came bursting through. Lyons was dispossessed. Now a chance at the back for Bowie, who put it into the path of Sparrow, who reaches and takes the mark. Just forward of centre wing. Short with his kick. It's okay as well for Neil Bullen. Neil Bullen into the forward pocket with his kick. It's high. Brown got a run at it. McDonald at ground level. Tackled well by Adams it was, and holding the ball. Wasn't much of an opportunity to get rid of that one. But he's been pinged nonetheless. Switch of play to the top of the defensive goal square. Mark taken by Rich. Rich looking for a way out of defence.
Rich goes very wide out to Coleman. Left half back against the boundary line. Short down the line to Robinson. Robinson pulls the trigger back into the corridor. Dangerous kick. Hand on it from Neil Bullen. Off the deck goes Bailey. Soccers it 40 metres further afield, and May's back and marking. Stephen May onto it. Go long to the contest. Kick on the wing. Gone there. McInerney gets his palm on it. Down to Matheson. He's tackled out of play. Spargo laying the tackle, so a boundary throw in between wing and half forward for Brisbane. In profile this year, they have the second fewest disposals of the league. They're the only finalist in the bottom 8 in that category.
Now, Oliver's gone down off the ball. They're not quite sure why. Gawn, though, with the clearance. It was smothered, his kick, so socket off the ground by Viney. Gained about 25 metres. Just taking the mark was Adams. Sloppy hand pass. Didn't hit Robinson. He has to collect on the bounce. Hand pass to Neil, who's forced to snap around the corner. High kick towards the top of 50. And coming in and taking an easy, uncontested mark is Gawn.
I mentioned they'll rank 17th for disposals, Brisbane, but third in contested possessions and number 1 in inside 50. So they don't waste the footy. They don't have a lot of uncontested possessions. When they've got it, they make them count. He's gone off the back flank, down the wing. Jackson enters from the side, can't mark. McInerney paddles it forward for the Lions. Oliver doesn't collect and bowled over by Neil. Out of play it goes. So a throw in right in front of the interchange gates. Melbourne by 19. How do you see it, Lids?
Just a really good arm wrestle at the moment. As I think as Beej alluded to, it's imperative for the D's to really hold on here. But if the Lions can jag one more, it makes the game very interesting going to the last.
Gawn over the back. Neil played for the free kick, didn't get it. Hand pass comes the way of Oliver. Short hand pass to Petrarca, who snaps around the body. Not controlled there by Lyons. In fact, Starcevic, he sees it out of bounds for a throw-in. 55 from the Melbourne goal. Haven't kicked a goal in this third term, the D's, after they kicked 4 goals 6 to 1 goal 2 in the second term to break the game wide open. Margin back to 19 points as we stand. McInerney to the front of the pack. Harms is in there, and free kick going the way of McInerney. Didn't even know he had it as he got to his feet. He's looking for a runner as well to give this off to. He might be forced to kick the big ruckman.
Anthony and Adelaide off the SMS. Light rain on the way, headed to CBD and Adelaide Oval by the looks of the radar. It's not good news for Aaron Bryant on the boundary. There's McInerney away to Rich. Kicks his preferred left-footed boot down towards half-forward. No mark. Spills to Fullerton. Hand pass back into dispute. Brayshaw wins it for Melbourne. Hand pass to Neil Bullen. Jams it on the boot. Rich grabs it. Tackled immediately by Gawn. Gawn off the deck. Hands it out to Petrarca. Just a high bomb inside forward 50. In from the side, Fritsch, no mark. Spills down to Starcevic, who's got it back pocket for the Lions. Looks to centre half back, and Coleman marks.
It's a good attacking kick as well, as is this from Coleman, straight down the middle to Danaher, who slid on his knees, gathered the possession, then hand passed it to Adams. Shocking kick going forward. Mark taken by Petty. Petty at centre half back. Back edge of the centre square, goes out wide. It's a left half back. Langdon takes it. Chip forward is okay too to Neil Bullen, who's done a power of running tonight. Neil Bullen short. That kick is okay as well to find Sparrow. They're working this slowly and methodically up the non-broadcast side.
Melbourne have only had one goalless quarter for the year. Long kick from Sparrow inside 50. No mark. Spills down to Neil. Paddles it to Adams. Adams to Neil. Away to Robinson. His kick smothered. It's out of bounds. And a throw in 40 out from Melbourne's goal. That goalless quarter was the hour marathon where the lightning strike happened over in Perth, where they actually had to stop the last quarter, and it was played in two parts. Melbourne didn't kick a goal either side of it. A boundary throw in. McInerney knocks it down to Pryor, half back for Brisbane. Away to Neil, kicks out of the defensive 50. Up to the wing. On the bounce, Petty can't control it. Ricochets off the boot of Danaher into the path of Berry. Hands it back to Joe. Takes a bounce. Tumbles a kick forward. They're outnumbered, Brisbane, in the attacking arc. With the numbers made, paddles it to Bowie. And Bowie controls it in the back pocket.
Good kick as well to find Spargo right half back. Just controlling this now nicely, Melbourne. Bowie. There's his next option presenting. It's beyond centre wing. Lions here in a 2-on-1, and Birchall floats in front of Fritsch, takes the mark, chips inboard, and the kick is okay as Zorko takes a sliding mark. Tried to milk the 50 as well, and then go back behind the man on the mark rather. So he has it on centre wing. Birchall out wide if he wants. Instead he goes inside 50, loads up. McCarthy opted not to fly. Berry did. Punched away from him. May might have caught one in the eye accidentally. He went to ground. Harms picks it up. Gets it out of the danger zone, but it might be coming back. Touched off the boot. Was a blessing in disguise for the D's. Birchall taken to ground by McDonald. Held up. Ball up 60 out from the Brisbane goal.
Oscar Max. Get down to Aaron Bryant momentarily with a bit of activity on Melbourne's bench. Has gone, knocks it down to Petrarca. Petrarca high up and under on the spot. Lands in Oliver's lap, tries to kick it forward, kicks it straight into Gawn. Gawn soccers it off the deck too, inside the centre circles. And Birchall takes the mark on his chest. He's going to head out wide to the eastern wing. Kadeen Coleman marks. 19 points. The lead for the Demons. They haven't kicked a goal in the quarter. The short kick to Berry. Berry drops a chest mark with a greasy footy. Petty onto it for Melbourne. Pokes the pass into the path to Langdon, who's off and running. Takes on Coleman. Dying seconds. Kicks into the pocket. Fritsch. Bailey Fritsch marks right on the horn. And he'll kick after the siren to try and avoid a goalless quarter for the D's.
Well, if this goes through, you've got to get your arm around Jarrod Berry. He's put a couple down tonight, hasn't he, where the ball's been right there, easy for him to take, but just took his eye off at the last moment.
So he's going to try and kick a banana on the outside of the left boot. Fritsch puts it across the face. He doesn't score. And so Melbourne with just two behinds in this third quarter. Brisbane 2 goals at the other end to grind their way back in the game. 3-quarter time, Melbourne by 19 points. The Demons 9-12-66. Brisbane 7-5-47. 3-quarter time at Adelaide Oval in the first qualifying final. Aaron Bryant is on the boundary as...
Corby, a bit of carnage down here, so we'll start with the Demons. Luke Jackson is down into the rooms after having some contact to the mouth. He may have lost a tooth, so they've rushed him down there to check that out. For the Brisbane Lions, their medical sub, Reece Matheson, who was activated earlier in the game for Dan McStay, has just hurt his left shoulder, so he looks to be done as well. He's chucked the tracksuit on. So Brisbane now officially a man down. They lost McStay after he copped friendly fire to the face and broke his nose, essentially. Now Reece Matheson with that left shoulder injury. So they're down one man. Melbourne with Luke Jackson in the rooms at the moment.
Thanks, Az. All over at Aaron Bryan's on the boundary on Grandstand AFL. 2 goals to zip in the quarter for Brisbane. It's back to 19 points. Final quarter action coming up on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital and ABC News Radio. This is Grandstand AFL.
Arts, politics and culture from a range of Indigenous perspectives. On Speaking Out.
We're seeing a lot of our people, young people, going away. We should be guiding them.
We must have a country to call our own.
A lot of our women were taking their children back into the bush and hiding.
Speaking Out with Larissa Berendt, Sundays at 9 p.m. on ABC Radio.
The 2021 AFL Final Series.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
From the boundary throw-in, the Sparrow coughed it up, became tackler, hurried kick going forward from the Lions. Hands on it from McCartney, spills the mark. Leave it at Bowie. He's mowed down, tackled from Danaher. Brisbane win it back.
Umpire said play on. They maintain possession over the Lions. Pryor inside 50. Spore came from Smith, but Charlie's out the back again. He can turn, snap towards goal. He's got 4. And he keeps the Lions alive.
Kadeen Coleman outside 50, pokes it inside the arc. Berry drifting forward, marks, looks to straighten up. Genuflecting to take the mark, McCluggage moves in, threads it.
The 2021 AFL Final Series on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Just 2 goals in that third quarter, both to Brisbane. After being 31 down, they trail by 19 as we turn for home. The first qualifying final between Melbourne and Brisbane. D's by 19. Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio on Grandstand AFL.
Well, there wasn't much for us to really get excited about. That quarter was there. It was a real arm wrestle.
Yep.
Brisbane just on the grind, just trying to get themselves back into the game. It may have just been as simple as a couple of key areas, 1 clearances, stoppages, a bit of accountability work. But
this is what Melbourne do, don't they? They make it hard for you to score.
Yep, and then let's, for Brisbane's messaging this is that just try and win this quarter to give us a chance in the last, because that's all you want, because it would have been disastrous coming in this last quarter, essentially knowing that the game was out of reach. So they've given themselves exactly that, 19 points in it. Again, it wasn't pretty, but Brisbane did what they need to do. Won a couple of key areas. Lockie Neal dominating, particularly in these conditions, having an outstanding night contested possession-wise. But yeah, it was just a real struggle for both teams just to get on the scoreboard. So Brisbane obviously kicking the 2 goals, but Melbourne, again, I don't think there was a dominance from kind of either team. It was just a matter of just trying to make something out of nothing, because I don't think at any point we talked about how I think Melbourne got out a couple of times, but their ball movement, both teams were really strong defensively. Both teams couldn't really get an uncontested chain going to get some fresh air ahead of them, to get the ball into their forwards, or at least equal numbers or an isolation. So good from that perspective, but from a viewing perspective, it's been a real struggle. So games set up though. Melbourne, they just a bit of holding pattern there. Now it's just time just to put the foot on the throttle just a little bit. Just you don't
want to just win, do you?
The thing, it's easy to do, but when your team's been so dominant in the second quarter there, and they've kicked 4 goals, 6, and had so many opportunities when it could easily be, like, how often do you say that it's a cliche that, oh geez, these misses have come back to haunt them, and it arguably could.
And then
because
the Ben Brown one, first one out of after half time. If that goes through, are we looking at a different story in that third quarter? Like, how deflating that can be sometimes.
Exactly. So you don't want that to be come down to it towards the end of the game and put you under pressure because of your lack of skill, execution, and skill in front of goals. So it's really important. Easy thing to say, but the first 5-10 minutes just for Melbourne to steady the ship and potentially get a couple on the scoreboard just to put it out of reach of Brisbane, and then they can play a bit of keepings off for the last 10 or so minutes.
Brendan Goddard and Brett Delidio, your experts on Grandstand AFL. Let's head downstairs, Aaron Bryans.
Maisie, good news for D's fans. Luke Jackson is out there to start the final quarter, and just confirmation for Brisbane Lions fans. Reece Matheson, the medical sub, out with a left shoulder injury. Dan McStay, the man he replaced, out after copping a knee to the face, so likely a concussion and some issues with his nose.
It's a big loss for the Brisbane Lions. Did you see, just very quickly before the final turn, did you see any change in their method going forward, the Lions in that third term, or was it mainly the same?
Really, I think there was a bit of, sloppiness from Melbourne just in terms of the defence. They were able to pick themselves or pick their way through with the ball, but no, not really.
Prelim final on the line for the winner tonight. Nice mark in defence taken by Rivers, who goes right up the middle. Now Petrarca, short kick. Neil Bullen's in a bit of space. He can get to 50. Hand passes inboard. Spargo saw a D out the corner of his eye. Unselfishly went to Brown. He's called for play on again. He turns around, hits the fat side of the footy. It floats up towards the goal square. Adams dropped it at the top of the square. Allowed the Demons to get there. Shrugging the tackle was Robinson. Hand pass came the way of Harms. He couldn't gather. Birchall did. Slammed it out of there. Gained about 55 metres. Chance now, though, for the Ds. Salem off his right boot. It's a good kick, too. Lands in the middle of a couple of Ds who might have had a bit of miscommunication. Viney, hand pass to Oliver, who goes to Fridge, who didn't take the mark. Got the free kick, though.
Front on contact.
And Harris Andrews cannot believe it.
I'm going to footy.
Marcus here.
He thinks he got the footy and nothing but.
Time back on, please.
Umpire Chamberlain disagrees.
He's right. He's exactly right.
So you're not allowed to contest now from front on.
All eyes for the ball. Did not take them off it, and he arguably got the first touch on the ball.
Any contact, though, as soon as you come front on.
You should be able to go for a mark. Running back with the fly, that's the most courageous thing you can do in our game.
That's what I said, as long as he makes contact with the ball, because he has.
It's a little clanger there from Ray.
Fritsch, 30 out, directly in front to deliver a hammer blow early on in the final term. He does. Margin 25 points, and the assignment gets pretty difficult now for Brisbane.
You just want them to earn it too when you're Brisbane. It's just like, we're gonna crack in here and give it everything we got essentially, and then to come out and the first minute and a half it comes down to literally an umpire blunder like that. That's just inexcusable, Ray. You're right there too. So you got a good eye on it. It's just disappointing. It's so deflating for Brisbane now. We said that they obviously have to get a goal here, but not in that manner. Like, you could probably cop it if Ben Brown kind of goes back and it's not touched, he goes back and kicks it. But when there's a legitimate umpire blunder, well, look at that again in slow play.
We just saw some pictures of Luke Jackson in the rooms. Aaron told us that he lost one of his teeth. He lost his front tooth.
Big front tooth there. Looking like a hillbilly.
In the middle of the ground, Zorko sockers it out to the wing. McCluggage away to Jared Lyons. Kicks inside 50 for Brisbane. Cameron the target. He's got 4 already. Can't mark. Spills to Jared Berry. Hand pass into the pocket. Rivers there for Melbourne. Gives it to Petty. He's tackled. Ball held in and a ball up forward pocket for the Lions. Brisbane in final quarters this year. They've won 15, lost 7. Melbourne have won 13. From the ball up, Gawn wins it down. Oliver, hand pass away to Rivers as the light rain starts to fall. Rivers out to half back, sliding in for Brisbane. McCluggage really trying to hold it in. It comes out the back towards Oliver. His kick smothered by Neil. Rivers has a go. Likewise, kick smothered. Spills to Harms of Melbourne. Still at half back to Neil Bullen. Brayshaw back to Harms. His kick smothered again. Great effort. Diving across McCluggage. Forces it out of play. A throw in between wing and half forward for Brisbane.
That was finals footy right there, not one clean possession. About 10 in a row.
I say light rain as well. I'm not the one that has to sit in it. We'll check in with Az to see how that's all going.
Toss back into play. Lions sharks it off the pack. Kick inside 50, no mark taken. Cameron tries to paddle it between his legs to keep it in, doesn't do so. Salem sees it over for a boundary throw. And have we got a bit of light rain there, Aaron?
Not yet, Maisie. I'm holding my breath right now on the boundary. What you might notice, though, is there's a little bit of light fog forming here, and obviously you can see all the players' breath as well. It's dropped down to about 8 degrees here at the Adelaide Oval.
I think that's what I saw, as he bailed me out beautifully. As McInerney wins the tap, footy comes back to him, sweeping hand pass top of the goal square. Danaher run down by May, spills to McCartney. McCartney snapping, McCartney goaling. Not done yet, Brisbane. 5 played final term. The Lions move to 8-5-53. Melbourne 10-12-72. And they're back to where they were at three-quarter time. D's by 19 points. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio.
Well, he hasn't had a massive
night, Lincoln McCarthy, but sometimes you just need a moment, don't you, Beach? And as a small forward, your numbers and your chances are usually pretty limited, and you've got to swoop and make them count. He was right place, right time there, and a really clever finish. I want to highlight just I know Joe Danaher's had a pretty good night, but Stephen May's done a pretty good job on him as well, hardly giving him a sniff all night, and right there in his shorts, laying that tackle there, but just smart spot from Lincoln McCarthy, front and centre, and then a nice finish as well.
So a goal apiece to open the final term. Margin back to 19 points in favour of the D's. McCluggage comes through, hand pass to Neil, just dribbles it along the ground towards half forward. Big bump on McCarthy. Now a chance for Lyons. Had his kick smothered. Bruce did exceptionally well. Jammed it on his boot. Got it beyond halfway. No mark taken to Coleman. Goes back in at ground level. Rich now. Hand pass. Turnover ball. Sparrow. Hand pass out wide to Brayshaw. Brayshaw kicks inside 50. Andrews leads away for the Lions. Hand pass to Robinson. Now to Lyons. Lyons up to the wing. No mark taken by Fullerton on that occasion. Rivers with all the time in the world. Works the 1-2. Beautifully with Lever and then kicks long inside 50. Fritsch tries to get a fight and took it from 3 deep. Never looked in the contest until the last moment. And he'll line up from 45, slight angle to the left.
But he's just allowed to run and jump at the footy. That's one of his greatest strengths. We see that big hit. But someone's just got to take his body. He's so good when he gets a run and jump for, what would he be, 6'1", 6'2"?
6'2", yeah.
Yeah, so you've just got to take his body again. I think it was Dizzy Gardner's having a bit of a stinker. He's just got the blinkers on. He's got to get a bit of body work on his opponent.
He's already got one in this final term, Fritsch. This for his second. He lines up and doesn't make a mistake. He has 4, margin back to 25. Let's head downstairs, Aaron Bryans.
Maisie, in surprising news, the Lions getting a little desperate down here. Reece Matheson has taken the tracksuit off and he's back onto the field after that left shoulder injury. So they're giving him a crack. They're trying to pull out all their last options and make sure they can get a win here.
Well, as you said, Beej, I think if I'm thinking of playing on Bailey Fritsch, what I've got to do, I can't let him get goal side of me, and I'm not going to let him get a run and jump at it. A player that I've played on and with, Dylan Grimes, I can just imagine him in that situation. He would be absolutely terrorising him, making sure that he cannot get a run and jump at that. He tried, but it just wasn't aggressive enough, was it? So get your hands on, get your body on him, get some body contact. Just don't play athletics, allow him to out-jump you.
They got Fritsch and Spargo within 2 picks of each other in the draft a few years back, both in the 30s. He's got star written all over him, Bailey Fritsch. What a year he's had as McCluggage kicks out wide to Pryor off the wing. Tumbles a kick forward. McCartney caught at the back. Melbourne win it. Has Sparrow, hand pass to Petrarca. Petrarca long kick inside 50. Jackson minus 1 tooth. Flies in the air. Can't mark. Spills to McDonald. He's tackled. Dispossessed. An incorrect disposal. Free kick for Kadeen Coleman. So Brisbane, they're further back than they were at three-quarter time. 2 goals to 1 in the quarter for Melbourne. The daring kick up the corridor's a good one. Coleman finds Neil. Hand pass to McCluggage. Kicks to centre half forward. Cameron in front of Smith. Marks again. He's given him a bath tonight, Charlie Cameron. And he's got it 55 out. Looks inside 50. Joe skids in, takes the mark. And Joe Danaher hugs it to his chest. He'll shoot on the 45 from just inside 50.
Charlie Cameron just get out of my space and kick it in my vicinity. Yep. That's literally what it feels like at the minute. So the kick wasn't great. He just lost touch with his opponent, and Smith again.
He's done that all night, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's just able to find that separation just through speed, smarts.
They need it. Danaher shanks it right across the goal face. It doesn't score. Gawn competes, spills to Brayshaw. Hand pass under pressure to Spargo off half-back.
Spargo, a hand pass to Oliver, who turns, kicks over his shoulder. McDonald from behind, batted it down. Birchall there for the Lions, though. Comes the way of Robinson, who kicks the ball forward to the top of 50. Neil dodging once, twice. Kick into the pocket is high. Danaher, was he being held or was he holding? Well, it's going to go to Cameron. Secondary contest. It's So it's probably about 5 metres off the ball there, Cameron, where he's received this free kick. Smith can't believe it. And Cameron will be lining up for another.
Just panicking. He knows he's under pressure when the ball gets in his vicinity, so just overplays it. When Lever was the free man, he didn't need to be so aggressive.
Right forward pocket. He'll start a metre inside the boundary line, try and hook it back with his left foot. He's about 25 out from goal. Cameron shoots and scores. He's very happy with it as well. Wants a few people to jump on and ride home with him. 5 goals for Cameron tonight. 78 plays 59, and there's a heartbeat for the Lions yet.
Geez, he's been impressive, hasn't he? Up there as a small forward to kick 5. But he's had it on his own terms a little bit too, Beach, hasn't he? We haven't seen Smith try anything different. He's always been 3 or 4 metres behind him. That time he actually was close to him and he gets grabby. And he's nervous about Charlie Cameron getting that separation. There he was putting him into a spin move.
You guys are in the minority, Lids and BJ, and I'm not just saying that because you're here, but you wouldn't have had too many nights like this in your career. But if you're Joel Smith or a senior player playing with him, how do you get him out of this at the moment, or at least keep his focus?
Well, it's talking about they're going in with a plan, clearly. So they said, Smith, you're going to Charlie Cameron. So all the things you're prepared for, focus on his strengths, what you need to do to nullify those things, just keep coming back to those. At the minute, it'll be around body work, because he knows if he gets separation, he's faster than him, so he's got to get more body into him early just to put his timing out, particularly with those leads. So just to get him back, just go back to what you prepared for during the week, and obviously just tell him to stay calm under pressure, and that just let him know that you got his back, because it's a lonely place down there when you isolate inside 50 against such a dangerous player.
Just his 3rd game of the year, and Cameron's kicked 5 on him, but hasn't been a good night. The ball made its way to the wing, and Lyons was tackled out of play. So from the boundary throw-in comes to Neil. Had the blinkers on, Sparrow got him. Chased down, tackled, holding the ball. And a free kick for Tom Sparrow back in his home state tonight. Playing in his first final. As I said, had a heap of the year as the Medi sub gets the start tonight in the latter stages of the regular season. And played a fine role, Melbourne by 19.
He'll kick from 4 to the wing. Gawn his target. Starcevic didn't have eyes for the ball. Now he fights for it at ground level. Gawn over the top of it. And the ball going absolutely nowhere between those two. Umpire to come and sort things out.
But saying that, like we highlighted coming into the game, that matchup and who gets it and how important it is. So it was concerning for us here. We said Rivers, Smith, and we questioned whether Hibbert or why Hibbert wasn't in the team, because we both agreed, Brett, Lids and I, that it was the best matchup, I think, for Melbourne.
D's hold up across half-back again, although May's kick is a turnover. Chance now for the Lions. Matheson, shoulder injury and all. Got around the man on the mark, but then turned it over by foot. Langdon intercepts for the D's, kicks towards half forward. Mark taken by Gawn. He's taken to ground by Andrews as well. Gawn wants to swing quickly and go onto that right boot. It's a high kick inside 50. The jumper was McDonald, couldn't take the mark. He fights on at ground level. Petrarca emerges, gets a bit of space, stayed on his right boot when he could have gone on his left. Passes to Brayshaw, who snaps from 45. Is there too much bend on it? Yes. One behind. Margin 20 points in favour of the D's. 13 minutes played. Final term on Grandstand AFL.
Even that little switch there from Petrarca, like if he just hits his target there, when we talk about it so often, it's just an easy set shot goal, isn't it, for Brayshaw, but just falls short, turns into a snap and a live play.
And even with his kicking skills, he's one of the best players in the game.
Oh, that's it, mate. He's impressive to watch.
Birchall to Berry, long down the line. Coleman and Sparrow both compete. Spills to Brayshaw. He slips out of play. He was pushed in the back. Free kick for Angus Brayshaw. 70 out. Looks inside the forward 50. Coleman back to the play. Viney marks against the boundary line. 45 out.
Jack. Thank you.
Jack Viney missed a bunch of the year with foot surgery. His 13th game. He looks for Gawn, who's out to meet it. Got the contact. Free kick. And Gawn will get it in the pocket. Bang bodies with Matheson in the marking contest. And Gawn slow to rise. Gee, Matheson wasn't even looking at the footy. Just front on, made contact with Gawn straight up and down the middle. And Gawn gets the free.
That's ordinary, isn't it? To run back and just... That's not courage. That's just being reckless and trying to hurt someone. I think not smart at all, but he's just doing his best at the moment, Reece Matheson, and good to see Big Gawny resting up forward. A chance just to ice this game, you'd say.
Few deep breaths. The leader of this special run for the Demons, Max Gawn, snapping, misses. In the end, he's lucky to sneak it in for a behind. 11-14 to 9-5. It's been Melbourne all night. 21 points the margin. Time to go for Brisbane.
Straight up the middle they go too, running back with a flight. Zorko spills it. Harms there for the D's. Hand pass to Viney. Long kick into the pocket. Brown sets himself. Punched away from him. Pickett is lurking. And he sees it out for a boundary throw-in. Ball to be tossed in 40 around from the Melbourne goal. Left forward pocket.
Ben Brown. Thank you.
Umpire waits for the ruckman to assemble. Brown and McInerney to go at it. Ball tossed back into play. Brown, and then McInerney runs onto it. Taps it to the advantage of Robinson. Short hand pass goes to Matheson, who dropped his knees. Was clattered into, lost the footy. Comes the way of Brayshaw. Brayshaw pops it at the top of the square. And going back with a flight and taking a nice mark is Andrews. Reached as far as he could to rake that one in.
Short to Birchall. The four-time premiership winner in the back pocket. Long kick to the contest on the wing. Danaher and Gawn both miss it. Slides through to Salem. Pokes the pass to half forward. G. Robinson. No mark, no front on contact. Ball out of play. Harms sees it out. And Robinson takes the mouth guard out to give some feedback. He's got a fair point as well.
Oscar.
Eyes are rolling, aren't they? He's ready to go, the big fella.
That's a good old-fashioned dummy spit, that.
Yeah. Can't wait for the next contest.
The mouth guard comes out. 21 points, Melbourne's lead. 17 played in the last. From the throw-in, McInerney hands it to Zorko. His kick chopped off. Brayshaw dumps it back inside 50. Andrews out to meet it. Close to the boundary line. McDonald sees it out. Boundary throw-in, 30 out from Melbourne's goal.
Dees will be happy with an arm wrestle for the time being. They lead by 21 points. Played 17 and a half minutes in this final term on Grandstand AFL. Winner through to the preliminary final. Toss back into play. McInerney won it down to Lyons, who snaps out of the immediate danger. High kick about 30 metres further forward. Danaher takes it at the back of the pack. Wanted to go quickly, turns it over by foot. Kick travelled about 8 metres and Sparrow's been paid the mark. He's inside the centre square for the D's. Has Oliver short. Opts to go wider. Gawn the target. And he takes it on his chest. McInerney didn't get there in time. And Gawn pokes the pass into the pocket as well. Drifting into space is Petrarca, who can have a shot. He'll have to kick this from 50 in the left forward pocket.
Where does this go?
Right through the eye, diddle.
I would say no one knows.
You just feel like they need one more here, the D's, just to completely ice the game.
Yeah, they're in complete control though. Inside 50s are like 13-4 playing the game in their front half. Brisbane, they're battling on, but it's just they just can't get through the defence and the pressure of Melbourne.
Petrarca kicks from 3 metres inside the boundary. He absolutely nails it. The Demons are looking towards a preliminary final. 12 goals on the board. The margin now 27 points. We've played 18 and a half minutes in this final term.
Well, we weren't sure which way that was going to go, left, right or dead straight. I backed him in.
It's one of the three.
Yeah. And it was absolutely gun barrel. Big Maxie's taken a mark like he was 10 metres out and just turned his back on the play, strolling back. Christian Petrarca was there for an eternity, but eventually found him, just popped it over to him. He's had a pretty solid night. Petrarca, 26 touches, 11 of those contested, 8 inside 50s, now had a goal. But he could have walked in 2 or 3 others, I feel.
Yeah, those other 2 points that he's kicked were...
Well, they were just on the run shots from about 35, 40 metres out that you back him in more often than not to kick, but he's been a pretty important, pretty dominant player right across the night.
27 points Melbourne's way to drain all the drama out of it. We've now travelled 19 minutes into the final term. Still no clean possession out of the middle. Harms eventually, hand pass to Brayshaw. Dumped in a heavy tackle from Robinson. Still got the footy away. Back to Harms. Floats a kick inside 50. Brown can't mark. Skids through to Adams. He has a fumble and it's out of play. Throw in forward pocket for the D's.
That was actually good by Robinson. You actually saw that if he held on to that tackle, legitimate would have been a seriously dangerous tackle, but had the awareness, that's what I'm after, just to let him go midway through the tackle and allow the opponent to fall to the ground as opposed to tackling him to the ground.
From the throw in, McInerney grabs it out of the right, kicks it out on the full. Free kick for Melbourne. Big Max will take it between wing and half forward. So time on now, final term. D's by 27. Their biggest lead was 31 points, which they reached in the second quarter.
Ball in the front row. Max just reaches over to get it. Most of us got to jump that fence to try and get the footy. He kicks inside 50. Petrarca rolls off the back. 2 in a minute. And it's celebration time for the D's. They're going deep into September. 13-14, 92. Brisbane 9-5, 59. The margin now 33 points.
It's fair to say that they know they got it. This player's now walking back. Clayton Oliver's got a smile on him like a Cheshire cat. It's fair to say that all the Melbourne supporters at the ground and sitting at home probably realise
in their puffer jackets.
In their puffer jackets, and they've probably got their snow boots on, just wishing they were at the snow watching this. But unfortunately, they can't get to the game. But rest assured that I think your team's into a prelim final.
His ability to be involved in scores but hit the scoreboard is as good as my old teammate Dusty Martin.
Well, it's Dusty, Stringer and Petrarca, right? Now.
Yeah, they're three big bulls, aren't they, that just can play front half footy and kick goals.
Melbourne by a new game high. It's 33 points. Time on in the last. Kick from Lyons as he's being tackled. Chopped off. Brayshaw for Melbourne. Hand pass to Oliver. Kicks in up into the front half again. Brown to meet it. Slips through his hands. Jackson paddles it, but straight to Rich. Gives it to Andrews, who's still on his knees. Away to Neal. Possession 39. Links up with Robinson. Short kick to Matheson. Marks at half back for the Lions.
Goes by hand to Lyons. Back to Neal by hand. Blind kick forward. Lands straight on the chest of Rivers. Backing back with the flight. Rivers out wide. Brayshaw will take this mark uncontested in front of the interchange benches. They can feel it now, the D's. He's happy to hold things up, Angus Brayshaw. 23 possessions tonight. Runs centrally. Then kicks to left half forward. Brown couldn't get a run at it. Andrews at ground level. Just gets the hand pass away to Robinson, who cleared the space. Rich, lightning hand pass to Pryor, who's been quiet. He's tackled by Viney, going nowhere. He doesn't slide over the boundary line, so it'll be a ball up in between wing and half forward for the D's.
So Melbourne off to Perth tomorrow. Of course, the grand final slated for out west at Perth Stadium. The ball up, it's out of play. So the D's will play their prelim there at this stage. And they'll await the winner of Geelong or GWS. So that's their side of the draw. It's wide open on the other side. Brisbane now next Saturday night will host a semi at the Gabba against either the Dons or the Dogs. And the winner of that game will face Port Adelaide back here at Adelaide Oval. Quick kick forward from Jared Lyons, seen out of bounds. Jake Lever, the All-Australian back pocket. We'll have a boundary throw in after all that. Half forward for Brisbane, 60 out from their goal at the river end.
Ball spinning back into play. Gawn assumes front position. Palms it down to Viney. Now to Petrarca, who gathered the ball despite having one arm held. Worked the 1-2 with Oliver. And then he goes back to Oliver by hand. Through centre wing. Long kick inside 50. Here's a turnover. Straight down the throat of Starcevic, who takes the mark.
The Giants, by the way, are one of 4 teams to have beaten Melbourne this year and lost too many games.
Starcevic straight up the middle. Great kick too. Finds Lyons inside the centre square.
Straight back onto his feet. Looks out wide. Drifting forward. Mark taken out there by Berry, who turns and kicks inside 50. Cameron and May spoils it out of play. So a boundary throw in forward pocket for Brisbane. And they're a bit beaten up too, so injury concerns for both Birchall and Matheson, who are going to play out the game. Dan McStay, suspected concussion, busted open on his nose in the opening 10 minutes, subbed out. Very unlikely for next week, given what we saw from the throw-in. Gawn whacks it down. Matheson through traffic. Hand pass trying to get it to Robinson. Viney soccers it. Ricochets back into the pack. McInerney extracts it. Away to Pryor. The lefty chucks it on the boot right to the goal line. It's off target. And behind it, Jackson Pryor. It's 32 points, 25 minutes into the final term.
May to take the kick in for the D's. Wipes the ball on his chest a couple of times to dry it. And just waltzes out very slowly. Kicks towards the wing. No mark taken off hands though. Jackson running forward to the ball. Received the Sparrow hand pass. Inboard by Hanson. Neil Bullen. And Neil Bullen missed the hand pass to Spargo. He's got time to recover at centre half forward. Runs around McCluggage, who got him on the second attempt. The kick was affected. Petrarca soccers it to the advantage of Brown, who almost rugby passed that out towards Petrarca, and he had a fumble straight through his hands. And they can have a chuckle about it because they are 32 points up. 26 played final quarter.
Amazing, my wife just wanted me to let you know that she's sitting at home in a puffer jacket watching the footy. So is her dad and her brother. I think my wife wouldn't be listening to me. She hates the sound of my voice. She gets enough at home. But I'm sure my father-in-law and brother-in-law are sitting there at home listening. So you've ruffled some feathers there at home.
McInerney grabs it out of the right, kicks it up to the wing, and it bounces out of play in front of the interchange gates. A throw in. Aaron Bryans on the boundary.
Corbin, just confirmation from the Brisbane Lions camp. Dan McStay was subbed out with a concussion, so he will miss next week's game.
Thanks, Az. So those concussion protocols, the 12 days in effect. You'd need Brisbane to make it through to a prelim for him to play again this year. Jackson wins it on the wing, kicks to half forward. Andrews and Brown. Andrews does well. Shepherd's Brown off it. Matheson kicks down the wing. Harms and Robinson, two tough nuts. Bang bodies. Spills down to Robinson. Hand pass to Lyons. Swings a hand pass back inboard. Pryor dumped in the tackle from Sparrow. Taken to ground and a ball up on the wing.
I'm just looking across at who's on the bench now for Melbourne. Oliver, Petrarca, Gawn, May. I don't reckon they're coming back on.
Did you just see May got called off? Filthy. He was just like, why am I coming off, mate? Why? Just sit back and relax, just knowing you're in a prelim final.
Goody's just smiling at him, saying, mate,
laugh at him. Sit down.
Yeah, sit down.
Salem kicks it to Viney, spoiled away from him by McCluggage, over and out for a boundary throw-in.
First final for Stephen May, game 169. Of course, former captain of the Suns and made his way to Melbourne in 2019. Got his first All-Australian blazer during the week.
Through the hands of both ruckmen on centre wing.
Push in the back, free kick, Brisbane.
So, as you can hear, umpire Chamberlain there paying a free kick to Lockie Neal, who's been prolific tonight, coming up for possession number 42. As Robinson out wide. Instead just pokes the pass short. McCluggage takes the mark. McCluggage can drive this towards the top of 50. Instead goes short. It's intercepted by Pickett. Got a hand in there. Now at ground level. Soccers away. Neal, another possession. Hand pass was good to McCluggage, who pokes the pass to the top of 50. Bailey takes the mark. Bailey pokes it inside 50 over the head there of McInerney, and Petty happy enough to see it for a boundary throw in. And he sees it out in the right back pocket for the D's.
PJ, this would be a fun time of a qualifying final, I'm sure. 32 up, 9 minutes.
Yeah, so I said Maisie and the rest of the boys just sit back and lap it. Just lap it up, relax. Start relaxing. They're heading to Perth, get some sun next week for 3 or 4 days, totally switch off, and then lock into the next eight days knowing you're playing in a prelim.
From the throw-in, Bowie's hand pass to McCluggage, centering kick, and Langdon in front of Danaher, back with courage, takes the mark. Inside the defensive 50. In his first final tonight, the former Docker. Langdon long to the wing. Starcevic spoils down to Neil Bullen. Threads a hand pass into the path to Spargo and Fritsch. They hunt after it as Rich goes to ground. Pack forms around them. And the ball up on the eastern wing. Melbourne by 32 points, straight through to a prelim. They'll get the winner of Geelong and GWS. While Brisbane will play a semi-final next Saturday night at the Gabba against either Essendon or the Western Bulldogs.
From the ruck contest, Lions read it best out the back. Snap inboard. Bowie dropped the mark but recovered nicely. Works the 1-2 with Brayshaw. Then runs forward of centre. Kicks to the top of 50. Brown takes the mark. Thought about the hand pass to Pickett, who was flying past. Instead he turns around, lowers the eyes. No mark taken by Viney on that occasion. Matheson. Hand pass short to McCluggage. McCluggage finds Robinson. Robinson wants to go quickly. And he does. He finds Cameron, who's a long way up from goal. Cameron, good kick, opens things up to Neil. Neil a little bit indecisive, then kicks inside 50 finally to the pocket. Berry, no mark taken. Bowie tracking back did well to spoil. Hand pass comes away of Smith now to Brayshaw. Kick over the top is all right, and Brown takes it. He's at left half back, a long way from home.
Defensive side of the wing. Brown takes his time and gives it a whack to the contest between wing and half forward. Oh, McInerney can't mark, and then coat hangers Viney.
James, hop out.
James Harms just letting McInerney know all about it. Not sure it was intentional. It was a big fella. Pretty fair ball player, I'd say, Oscar McInerney. And Viney taking some time, heads down to half forward, over the head of Neil Bullen. Comes to Rich. Hand pass away to Neil. He gives it to Pryor. Pryor's hand pass out wide. Back to Neil. Along the half-back line to Lyons. His kick smothered. Ricochets to Brown. Hand pass for Neil Bullen. He's helped out of bounds and into the fence. Gee, it was a big hit. And Neil Bullen crashes into the advertising hoardings.
It's just what you need, isn't it, with 30-odd seconds to go.
Ball to be tossed back into play. Seems okay as he trots away from this contest. Jackson won it down. Pickett with a boot in there. Coleman at ground level. Pokes out the side. Pickett snaps towards goal. Cozzy for a bit of icing on the cake. Misses. Just away to the left. One behind. The margin 33 in favour of the D's.
So that's a game-high margin right at the finish. Brisbane, they get the double chance. They back up in a semi next week. Straight up the middle, Rich to Zorko. But it'll be Melbourne's night, and perhaps the next month will belong to them as well. The Demons are into the final four. Their Cinderella run extends to preliminary final night at least. The Demons are through. Brisbane back up next week. It's the D's by 33 points.
It's a grand old flag, it's a high-flying flag, it's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you.
The minor premiers for the first time since 1964. The last time they won a grand old flag. They're trying to run it a long way back, the Demons. They led by 8 points at quarter time, by 30 at the half, threatened to break the game open. They were held goalless in the third term. Brisbane kicked the only 2 of the term to threaten, but when it was time to close, Melbourne did just that. They kicked 4 goals to 2 in the final quarter to win by a game-high 33 points and book their place in the preliminary final out west.
It's a high-flying flag, it's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue. Every heart beats true for the red and the blue, and we sing this song to you. Through all the acquaintance people, keep your eye on the red and the blue.
The usual suspects, the goal kickers, Bailey Fritsch with 4, 2 for Pickett, 2 for Petrarca, 1 each to Spargo, Oliver, Langdon, Sparrow and Ben Brown. They got it done by committee. While for Brisbane, 5 for Charlie Cameron. Hands down beat young Joel Smith in just his 3rd game for the year. 1 each to McCluggage, Berry, McCarthy and Bailey. 13 goals to 9. the minor premiers win their way through to the preliminary final, where they'll play either Geelong or GWS. That's next Friday night's semi-final, and the finals picture really starting to take shape. While Brisbane, they'll put their feet up, and they'll be hoping for a bruising encounter tomorrow down in Launceston. They'll get the winner of the Bulldogs and the Bombers next Saturday in a semi. It's all about the D's, a 33-point win. Brendan Goddard, Brett Delidio with your initial takes.
Yeah, well, it's pretty convincing from Melbourne in the end. We said they got within, what was it, just over 3 kicks. 19 points was the closest after the first quarter, wasn't it?
Yep, on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, so it was a pretty dominant performance from second quarter, arm wrestle in the third, and then that last quarter didn't start too well with that dubious free kick, played to Frisch, but from then on in it was a complete dominance. So again, just the ability of a strong defensive team, just to the thing about strong defensive teams and defence in general is that the opposition can't control that. So no matter what you do, you can't change the attitude and the opposition's attitude towards defending in terms of pressure, how they set up the ground. You can try and manipulate a couple of matchups and make blokes accountable, but you literally cannot control how the opposition defend and their intensity in defence. That's why it is so important, because it's only the one.
That's why coaches cherish it, don't they?
That's why they cherish it. That's why there should be such a high importance on it in every team, and that's why there is in every successful team. So tonight which is what we alluded to, and hence why we picked Melbourne. But it was again just another example of how a great defence beats a great offence.
Yep. I think we thought that the Lions were half a chance maybe, but they just couldn't capitalise in that third quarter. They started the game really well, but Melbourne, even though Brisbane had started well, Melbourne was still that level above again, weren't they? Second quarter, they went away with it. Third quarter, real arm wrestle. That was Brisbane's chance to capitalise when Ben Brown misses that easy set shot, and then
but Melbourne just make it hard enough that they can't.
Well, they're not easy to score against.
Yeah, all they could get was 2 goals. They couldn't get the 4-1 or 4-0 in the end because Melbourne didn't score a goal, but they couldn't get those 4 goals that they really needed to have a legitimate chance.
One was a slow play that went all length of the ground to Hugh McCluggage, who kicks that goal. The other one was the Charlie Cameron one. That snap, wasn't it, I think, from memory?
Yeah, finally got into him with isolation, but it's just percentages are, and majority of the time it just always stacks up.
Yep, and that's why any Demon supporter out there, in your vest or not, you should be very confident with how the D's are setting the ground up, how they're controlling and making it so hard for opposition teams. And you've got some absolute stars in the middle of the ground, led by your skipper in the ruck, but then you got Oliver. What do you have tonight? 33.
Sat the last 5 minutes on the bench.
Yeah, Petrarca had 30, kicks 2 goals, 2. Could have easily had a few more. Both had 10 score involvements. So, look, you're very well set. And you've got 2 absolute stars down back in May and Lever that are well supported by the boys around them as well. So, going very, very well at the moment. You should be very confident, Melbourne supporters, but don't go getting no carts just yet. We still got a couple of games to win. We saw it fall down in 2018, didn't we, in that prelim? So,
well, yeah, and
they're a different side from then to now, though.
Yeah, and reality is when they're into a prelim that generally you're facing the 4 best teams at that particular time in the season. So, whether that changes, whether the top 4 changes as such in prelim week, we saw Geelong obviously stumble and put in a really poor performance, but.
Let's get this live. The Demons by 33 points, the best team all year, straight through to a prelim. They were humiliated back in 2018 in that preliminary final, and of course they're going back to the same setting for the prelim this year. It's not the West Coast Eagles who will wait though. They'll get either Geelong or GWS at Perth Stadium, so they can go back to the scene of the crime. They conceded 10 goals in the opening half. They didn't kick one themselves, and the game was dusted from that point on, having made their way through from 5th, and it's taken them 3 seasons, but they're back. into a preliminary final, the final four in the competition. The Demons by 33 points over Brisbane. Just before he makes his way out of Adelaide Oval, Aaron Bryan's been good enough to stick around for us. As there was a few injury concerns tonight, can you take us through, I guess, just a medical report from both teams?
Yeah, Corby, so major concerns for the Brisbane Lions, firstly, having to play next week. So Dan McStay copped a knee from Nakia Cockatoo, actually fell in the marking contest, hit the deck, slightly tried to sit up, and Cockatoo came through, cleaned him up with the knee, shattered his nose. There was blood coming out profusely. He was completely puzzled and dazed as he tried to be escorted off the ground and was quite limp as well in the process. It took a good 6-7 minutes before they could actually stop the blood flow coming out of his nose. In the end, he actually was able to get up by the back end of that first quarter and walk around a bit and start to interact with his teammates. But because he was subbed out with concussion, he will miss next week's game. Also for the Brisbane Lions, concerns over Reece Matheson, who was the medical sub that was activated for McStay. He hurt his left shoulder and towards the back end of the contest, so put the tracksuit on around the third term, and then when Brisbane got a little desperate, he took it back off again and came out and played out the game. But obviously concerns about whether or not that injury will linger over to next week for Brisbane. Meanwhile, for Melbourne, obviously with the week off, it's good for them, considering a lot of their players were hitting the pickle juice quite early. But Luke Jackson, who already has one fake tooth, may be missing another as he went down to the rooms after a collision. So he played out the game as well, no concerns there, but might be needing a trip to the dentist following the game tonight.
Thanks, Az. Appreciate your work throughout the night. It was rather humorous, the shots coming through that we saw of Luke Jackson in the locker room. Big, I was going to say toothy smile, but maybe -1 smile with Luke Jackson, the rising star, who, as Aaron said, lost another tooth in play. Melbourne 33-point winners over the Brisbane Lions, 13-15-93. Brisbane 9-6-60. We'll get into the Melbourne rooms shortly and pull it all apart. So either Geelong or GWS awaits. You mentioned, BJ, just another great example tonight of why a great defensive team beats a great offensive team, and what Melbourne were able to do tonight, and really what they've done right throughout the year.
Yeah, as I said, it's the opposition can't control what you do in defence and the intensity and the pressure that you apply. So that's why all great teams generally are underpinned by great defence, and Melbourne have been that consistently throughout the year, and that's what Lid said, that why Melbourne supporters should be confident, because it has been so consistent. And it's even if you are struggling and you talk about what the whatever that percentage is, 5% off on that any particular day, if you still got sound structures, and there's still enough intent and
gives you confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just keeps you in games. If everything's else is off, offense, your clearances, your ball movement, everything. It kind of covers everything. So, and that's why I was just so confident in Melbourne tonight. And if they weren't able to get the job done, I just think if they had to back up against next week, the odds are that they were going to get it done, but just because of how sustainable it is. It's it was great, and they got let's be honest, they got it on their terms. So we talked about it pre-game, that what are Brisbane's tactics when Melbourne create that extra behind the ball, the 7th, when Gawn comes out of the ruck, when the ball's in Melbourne's forward half, what do they do? And Jed Adcock pre-game said, no, we play 6 forwards. He knew the question that Liz asked him. Didn't really answer it, but it wasn't lying. That's what they did. They just still played their 6 forwards. They didn't man it up. And at times, Lever, it wasn't always that. Lever just got off the chain because he made really smart decisions, read the play up the field, knowing that the opposition run the pressure when the kick was coming forward, and he was reading where it was going, 2 steps ahead of his opponent. So there's a number of things, but generally they got what they wanted. So, and a lot of the time it was around structure, getting the ball in the forward half, forward 50 in particular, and then locking it in there through pressure, intensity, and then the structure behind the ball, that if Brisbane did win it back, one, we're going to slow them down. So defensively, really strong about decisions you make around the ball to slow them down, number off, find your man, stop the switch. We go into heaps of detail, but essentially just slow them down, then force them to kick long down the line, create a contest, and then from there either create a stoppage or get it out of bounds. Apart from getting a direct possession, either intercept or when the ball hits the ground, for Melbourne that is, just get it out of bounds and start again, because then we're able to reset and then get our structure and get our stability and support behind the ball, which is what they always do.
So the numbers tonight, plus 32 in disposals, 23 of those were contested possessions, so plus 23 in that category. 12-2 the contested marks. They had such a dominance in the air on a wet night. Obviously McStay going down early didn't help Brisbane's cause, but their big men weren't really, or didn't really launch an aerial assault at any stage. Even in clearances throughout the night, 44 apiece. The inside 50 tally, Melbourne had 68 entries.
That's huge.
They end up having 28 shots at goal to 15, so 13 more scoring shots, and they win the game by 33 points.
That's concerning. That
what did Brisbane have?
Inside 50,
45.
Plus 23.
Yeah.
And they both had 44 clearances.
Yeah. I just had another look at Jake Lever. I was on his watch at half-time. And what did he have at half-time? It was 12 touches, 11 intercepts. He finished with 18 touches, 15 of those intercepts. Incredible.
Brett Delidio, Brendan Goddard, our grandstand AFL experts, Corbin Middlemass and Andrew Mays with you as we pull apart Melbourne's 33-point win. They're through to a preliminary final. A fortnight's time over in the West. Max Gawn, the All-Australian captain, the captain of the Melbourne Football Club on this special run, joins us on Grandstand AFL. Max, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you. That was a good game. It was nice and tight in that first half, and they came at us in the third quarter, which we knew was going to happen, and then we were able to hold in the fourth quarter. But the qualified finals are hard to win at the best of times, so to get that one in neutral territory and head to Perth for 2 weeks quarantine is a good result.
What were you feeling when the final siren went tonight and you're 33 up and straight through to a prelim?
Well, I got benched for the last 3 minutes.
Maisie wasn't too happy with that, was he?
No, mate, it took us 3 minutes to get Maisie off. He thought he was getting benched. And then Clayton and Christian came off, and then I realised maybe me getting benched was a good thing once those two came off. But yeah, it was obviously a great feeling. Brisbane are in form, and we knew it was going to be rock solid, and it definitely was.
It felt like, watching from where we were, that the latter stages of the opening quarter, you really started to gain control and then broke the game open in the second quarter. From your view on the ground, how did you see it?
Yeah, I'm without sounding arrogant. I felt sort of comfortable in the first quarter, but I didn't like the fact it was a shootout. It was 34-26. I probably made that up, but it sounds about right in that quarter-time score. And that's a rare score for us. We don't really like giving up 26 points and scoring 30 ourselves in that first quarter. So we felt like we were in control, but they were kicking some easy goals for our liking. So to peg that back, I think that was our main thing, to peg that back. And the clearance work from them in the first quarter was really good as well. So we had to fight that back. I'm pretty sure clearances ended up close to even.
Yeah, that's how we assessed it here too, Gorney. It's good to see that we're on the ball. But was that a focus at quarter time? We felt there was a dominance from Brisbane around stoppages, in particular centre square bounce work. Was there a mention made through the midfielders, yourself and the midfielders coach, just about getting control of that part of the game?
Yeah, and it's on me a little bit. I'll take a while to adjust to when the umpires throw it up. So there was a different sort of centre bounce thing for me there, and Oscar probably got the first 3 or 4 clearances, to be honest. So I had to pick that back myself, and I threw Luke Jackson in there just to see if we can get something different going. And then the second, third and fourth quarter, we were able to just get our ascendity going. And I think I made up a word then. Did I say ascendity?
We'll let it go, mate. You can say whatever you want tonight.
and then Petraka and Oliver just put on a show there for us in the last quarter.
They certainly did, Maxie. I want to ask you, and it's been spoken about a lot, about how strong your big boys have been down back in May and Lever, but Jakey Lever tonight, 18 disposals, 15 intercepts. You must be very happy and sound, mate, when the ball goes down in that back end.
Yeah, he's getting a pretty good record here of his intercept possessions. It's weird that we don't give him the ball. He doesn't get any possessions himself. Just off us. We actually don't kick it to him. It's your position to kick it to him. No, he's in some serious form. All-Australian back pocket, I think he was, along with Steve. And when you're going in without Hipwood, there's a chance that maybe we can get some aerial dominance down back. And then when McStay unfortunately went off early, we were able to get that dominance. And then what I wasn't expecting was Luke Jackson, Ben Brown and Bailey Fritsch to get their domination up forward with their contested marking. So that was impressive.
You spoke about the man with the hairdo, Bailey Fritsch. We watch that every single week that we've done a lot of your games. What's the go with it, mate? Is it chemically straightened? Is he just a heap of product? It's immaculate from the first bounce to the finish.
It's a phenomenal haircut. I don't know much about it. I ask him, but he doesn't give me much. He does get a cut every week, so it's a thing. And he chooses to have it like that. We all thought it was like a joke or something. But no, he actually chooses to have it like that.
Max, a serious one. So Melbourne, long premiership drought, the longest in the game since 1964. You've heard about it all year. Does it feel like a burden at all for the playing group that you have to carry that history?
No, everyone's got pressure, especially in those top four. So Brisbane, for example, had finished top four the last 3 years and hadn't got past the prelim. Similar with Port. Geelong have been to grand finals and finished top four 7 out of the last 9 and still haven't won one. So there's pressure with all those top four teams, and ours is we haven't won a flag since '64, but we're also the new kids on the block. We've only played one final series in the last sort of 6 or 7 years. So we're playing with. I mean, there is that pressure that we've got to try and break the drought at some point. There's also where the new kids on the block. We've got no baggage, and we're just excited to be out there playing some footy in the right time of the year.
Max, tell us about how the finals campaign a couple of years ago is comparing to this one. I know it's only a week old, this one, but clearly